Welcome to Forge at the Table. My name is Charles, and tonight I am your host and your dungeon master for these four magnificent, wonderful people sitting right above me, just up there. We're going to go around the horn here in just a minute. Let me get a couple of announcements out of the way. First off, thank you all for coming and hanging out with us tonight. There are many other options out there in the world of Twitch. I'm looking at them right over here, but you guys have chosen to be here, and we super appreciate that. Couple real quick things. What is this? It's a grim shot. What is a grim shot? A grim shot is your standard Dungeons and Dragons one shot. This one is based in the world of Midgard, the setting created by the fine folks over at Kobold Press. They have given us a bit of a push and given us the rights to use some of the artwork, but we are an unofficial Midgard campaign, which is fine. We'll eventually hit that official status. So that's what a grim shot is. If you're not familiar with what a one shot is, that is just one night of D&D with no ramifications, no overarching plot lines, nothing like that to worry about. And it means that I do not have to feel necessarily guilty when I kill all four of these wonderful people's with their PCs up above. So to kick this thing off, who are we? We are Forge at the Table. If you're new to the channel, which I'm pretty sure most of you out there are not new to the channel, you guys have been around for a little while, but we are all about building a community surrounding tabletop RPGs, geekiness, and nerdiness. If you want to jump in on some games, whether it's one-shots like this, which we have plenty of them coming up, or extended campaigns, which we have openings every once in a while. We have 12 campaigns right now in the works. Feel free to drop a follow on our Twitch channel and come on over to our Discord. That's all you have to do to get involved in some games. Get involved. Let us know who you are, how you are. Get to know us. Let us get to know you. A couple things coming up tomorrow night. If you're not aware of it, there is a very special one-shot happening on this channel right here at 9 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow night. We have Of Owl Bears and Honey, where I get to get Bad Eye, Mr. Adam Bradford himself, the big boss over at D&D Beyond. I get to get him all sticky with honey. So that's going to be a real blast tomorrow night. So that's tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Tune in for that. This weekend is everything you could think of Midgard. We have 3 different campaigns rocking and rolling this weekend for Midgard. We have Misadventures at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday morning. At 7 p.m. Eastern Time, we have the brand new launch of For Hall and Hammer, which is an all-dwarf Iron Crags campaign, nothing but dwarves. That one's going to be a lot of fun. Then again, on Sunday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, once again, we go with episode 2 of the further adventures of the Grim Company. So if you want to know what this Grim Company is, you're going to have to tune in to find out what exactly the hell that is. So let's see, there's another thing is we're one of those cheesy channels where we will happily allow you to spend your bits, your hard-earned moolah money, greenbacks, Confederate dollar bills, pesos, euros, rubles, rubies. I don't care what it is. If you want to send me government cheese in the mail, I'll take it. But you can use bits. And if you don't know what bits are, you can find out about those up top. It's a neat thing that Amazon does. You can spend your bits if you look down below in the doobly-doo, or what's known as the panels. There are many, many ways down there that you can actually mess with these guys right up here. You can give them bonuses and all that sort of stuff, but we all know the real reason for bits is to give bonuses to the dungeon master so that I can better enhance their gaming experience. So spend those bits, give them to the dungeon master, and I'll make sure they go to a good place. If you manage to spend anywhere in the $50 or higher range in bits in one go tonight, I will go ahead and allow you to choose a creature to summon into the game, and we'll mix things up tonight. Anything CR 8 and lower, I'll go ahead and let you tell me what you want brought in, and you'll be able to do that. So those are some of the ways to interact with this. Please stick around after the show tonight. We believe in spreading the love, so we're going to go out and raid somebody else. Hopefully our viewer count gets up where we're used to it, and we'll go drop some love on somebody else. And then afterwards, you can jump in on our voice chat over on Discord, and some of us will be hanging out in there. Next week, we are launching our painting stream. It will not be listed under Dungeons & Dragons. It will be listed under Creative, but I will be painting minis and talking about that on Tuesday. And then on Monday, we have a review stream, as well as a whole bunch of stuff. Look down below for our schedule. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the mics for these fine folks above me so that we can go around the horn and get this going one last time. This is a Grim Shot. It is based in the Midgard setting from the fine folks over there at Kobold Press. So we're going to go ahead and go around. So we're going to start with Firehawk. She seems to be a veteran around here. So go ahead and tell everybody a little bit about who you are and about who you're playing tonight.
Hey, I'm Firehawk. I am playing a Shargolden, an aquatic half-elf sorceress.
All right, Stomp-O-Matic.
Hello, everyone. I am Stump. Tonight, I am playing Sean Haas, a Dragonborn Paladin.
All right, Takeda.
Hi, I'm TK. Tonight I will be playing a Bearfolk cleric named Agnew.
See, we actually have one of the Midgard character classes or races actually in D&D Beyond. Don't know how that happened. And Atavistics.
How's it going, everybody? I will be playing Fletch, the Kobold Fighter.
All right, so let me see, maybe make sure I've got everything ready to go. We've talked about everything there is. Oh, one last thing. I'm looking for 3 more players for a one-shot next Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. That would be a 12:30 vid call time. If you want to jump in on a one-shot next week, I have 2 players. I'm looking for 3 more. All you have to do is drop or be a follower here on our Twitch channel and get involved over on our, almost said Midgard channel. Our Discord, drop me a line, let me know you want in on that. Cameras are required because after all, we are a stream, but if you absolutely cannot do it with the camera, we could probably figure out a workaround. So the 4 of you recently were sent out of the city of Berena in the Green Duchy of Varain. You find yourselves in the foothills that lead to the Iron Crags. You're currently surrounded in a camp with some low-lying kind of juniper-style trees with a chilled breeze blowing through the air. You were sent from the company house to investigate the disappearance of 2 wagons that were sent by a client into the mountains of the small village of Korse. Yes, the village's name is Korse. Above you rises the mighty Iron Crags, the home of the cantonal dwarves of Midgard. The road that you've traveled this far is very unkempt. It's hardly used. It's more of a back trail anymore than it is a road. Some rumors hint that in the past, great numbers of adventurers and merchants and the such moved along this trail, but that must have been a long time ago, because now just moving with small ponies and the such, which you did have to abandon at a side house not but a day ago, travel has been rugged and hard. Sitting across the camp from you with his back currently to you is your guide, Destel Greyholt. And Jacob comes screaming in right out of the way. A reroll for everybody, including Forge. So guys, thank you so much, Jacob. You guys go ahead and keep track of your rerolls. I will keep track of my reroll. And that's how it works, ladies and gentlemen. Anyways, Destel Greyholt, a middle-aged kind of rangerish figure, dressed in basically grays and earthy browns and greens, sits and has his back next to you, or back to you. Over the past 3 days, this gentleman has done nothing but try to warn you off of the passage and the direction you are heading, telling you story after story about ghostly haunted giants, dragons, wyverns, the undead that roam this particular stretch of the foothills and the Iron Crags. And while at first you may have found those tales to maybe be largely just that, tales, fabrications, legends, that sort of thing, as Destel has a tendency of looking to be that sort of individual that would make stories up. The lack of use of the road has begun to slowly lead and lend a little bit of credence to the tales he's been setting. The fire is maybe a good 2-3 feet up. It's well done. It's early morning. You've just awoken. Crisp, chill breeze snapping the flames of the fire back and forth as Destel is packing his bed and his pack up. You can see a couple horses just standing there. These are the last 2 horses in a small cart-style wagon that he will be taking back with him as he makes his way back to the city of Berena. The 4 of you have known each other for a while at least. I'd say a year, maybe even longer.
What race was our guide?
Human.
Human.
And he is heading back to the city from this point.
Yeah, he's got his back to you. He's mumbling a little bit under his breath, and he's got his back sort of to you. And once again, you hear his voice. Hey, you'd be smart not to go any further. And his voice is lost a little bit in the breeze that's currently kicking up. But he has that same tone, and this tone has grown more and more over the past day and a half's journey. Constant reminder that where you're going is going to end badly, that nobody comes this way, and that sort of thing.
I listen. I appreciate your warnings. I will take them to heart, but this is our job. It's what we were sent here to do. We need to carry through with this.
Aye, and everybody has a last job. He grunts a little bit as he lifts up his bedding and everything and throws it onto the back of the cart. He spins around, and you can see his skin is definitely weathered, darker skinned, tanned, or just from the weathering itself. Like it almost looks like crispy leather in a lot of ways. This is definitely somebody who spent far too much time outdoors. Maybe should find some good moisturizer or something along those lines. But his dark, heavily set eyes, heavy brow, bushy eyebrows, dotted with peppering of gray, kind of glances over the 4 of you and shakes his head from side to side. You're all going to find that this is going to be probably the last job you're ever going to have. There's a reason why this road is the way it is. Nobody comes this way. The bridge up ahead, as I told you just a day ago, is broken. There's no passage this way. You can't get to the bottom of the canyon. Course has been cut off for easily a decade, or if not more. But hey, the Grim sends you. I guess you do the Grim's bidding, and that's fine and well. My coin's been paid. No skin off my arse. And he spins back around to grab his pack and a few other items.
Yeah.
I will help him finish packing and shake his hand and say, well, if it is my last job, that is the God's will, but I do indeed hope to see you again.
As you shake his hand and turn away, he quickly kind of reaches inside his pack and he pulls out a small disc-shaped item, and he kind of presses it into your hand. And as he does that, he turns and looks at you square in your eyes and says, "May your way be never dark. Although I got a funny feeling you're all doomed." He just pressed into your hand a small coin that has a radiant golden sun on it. It's the symbol of Kors, who is a god that is oft revered around basically around here and like around Zobek in the Crossroads region and that sort of stuff, kind of up in the same areas as where people worship Perun and stuff like that. He's a lawful god and one that's known to light the way, that sort of thing. So, and he shakes his head as he continues. He puts the last little items, most of your food stocks, that sort of thing. You all have enough rations. Well, I can see that you're all too brave for your own good, and that's well and good. I'll be at the Way House just down the road where we left the ponies. If you make it back out, I'll wait a fortnight. If I don't see you by then, well, I'll tell the folks how brave you were, and I'll pass on the legend of your deeds.
And when we see you again, I'll buy you a drink.
I can't complain about that. He crawls his way up into the cart, swings his legs up, and with a snap sets the horses to moving. And even in this area, they have a hard time maneuvering around. There's a lot of broken roots and rocks and places where there's been landslides and that sort of thing. So maneuvering even a small, basically nothing more than a cart or an elongated buckboard is difficult here. And it takes him a bit, and gradually he begins to make his way back down the trail. The breeze continues to kick up. What little sparse vegetation there is and the juniper style trees are kind of stunted, and it doesn't do a lot to cut the breeze. You probably pull your cloaks a little bit closer in on you. There is a chill. It's really early spring, maybe spring melt, the very front end of the new year. And as the crags rise up in front of you, and you can see the road kind of cut from the foothills and begin to make its way higher up into the crags themselves, you can see the great peaks are just awash with snow, ice. You can see glaciers on some of the higher ones. And you can see that even on the higher elevation of foothills, you can actually see that there's still snow.
Okay.
Oh, this is going to be interesting.
Indeed.
Yep.
Do any of you, are any of you any good in the forest? Let me see if I am any good in the forest, in the woods.
As you kind of look ahead, you can see that there's not a whole lot of forest. You're basically going into broken foothills and that sort of thing, and then you're going to be basically traveling canyon lands and stuff like that as you make your way up.
Well, do you want to lead?
Are any of you proficient in nature?
Yeah, actually.
Okay, go ahead and roll me a nature check.
Okay. I got 20.
All right. So kind of as you're all standing there kind of packing up, getting ready to move out, you know that the trail heads further up into the mountains. And as you look up, you can see just by the ring of clouds on the higher peaks and the way they're moving, you can see where there's storms lashing those peaks. If you've ever watched like TV shows about Everest or K2 and you see those types of storms rolling in, you can see that there's storms up there that are definitely kind of rolling down the side of the mountains. You guys are currently basically looking at the western slope as the mountains come down, and you can see these great storms coming your way, and you can definitely feel like in your bones that there is indeed winter weather coming, snowstorm coming, something along those lines.
Okay. How about we have the kobold lead the way, as he is small, able to move through the rocks. You open to that?
Fletch think little dragon not smart in head.
Okay. So we'll have dragon up front. And
Fletch behind dragon.
what was that?
Fletch go behind dragon.
Okay. So flex. Then
I'll stick close to Fletch.
okay. What's your character name?
Ashar.
Shar. Then Takei, what's yours?
Agana.
Agana. Would you mind going next, and then I'll bring up the rear?
Yeah, sure. I'm cool with anything.
Oh, no, Sean will go first. Okay, so that will be our walking order, our marching order. Sean, Fletch, Ashar, Agna, as much as we're able to do a single file marching order as this rock climbing gets. I double check my pack to make sure I have my cold weather gear
Okay.
and start heading up the path.
Yeah, you all have more than ample gear and everything you would need to face the weather that's bound and determined to try to slow down your advance. And you spend the better part of the next 3-4 hours slowly trudging through rugged, jagged, broken canyons, gradually making your way further and further up into the foothills. And over that period of time, light flakes of snow kind of begin to drop down from the skies above, dust across your shoulders, your hair, your hoods, and all of that. You notice that the pathway begins to kind of thin out and it's thinning out not because the canyon walls are closing, but because of several landslides in areas where there's been shifts in the landscape. And it kind of slowly begins to funnel you not only closer and tighter, but begins to angle your way steeper and steeper up. And as you begin to do this and begin to kind of climb out, you actually come to a point about 3 hours into your journey where you kind of crest up out of the hills. And up in front of you, you can see kind of a plateau begin to form, and you can see two very large towers, maybe another hour up ahead of you. You can see that one of them is kind of broken at the midsection. You can see where it's kind of slid and collapsed. The other one still stands a bit higher, but the top of it as well is kind of broken. And you think in the dusting of snow that is beginning to blur your vision at this distance, you think you see a third one further out. You don't know all that terrible much about the area or the terrain. And as you stand there and look, the storms that are coming down out of the mountains begin to kind of slam into you. The breeze begins to whip your cloaks, begins to flap your hoods off of you, an icy chill wrapping inside and reminding you of how deadly not only the creatures of Midgard can be, but the weather of the Iron Crags. As you pull your cloaks kind of closer and you dip back down into the safety away from the violence of the storms that are coming, the snowfall kind of continues. And after about another 2.5 hours, you once again kind of rise a little bit and you come over and around a corner and you begin to see where the canyon kind of opens up in front of you onto kind of a plateau or a shelf that stretches out. On the right side, you see this big, huge tower rising maybe 85 feet into the air. You can see where the steeple or the top of it has been broken off, fallen away, and you can't find it anymore. And then about 30 feet on the left tower where it is also crumbled off. Both of them have rings of rubble and that sort of stuff around them. And out on the plateau, you can see quite a bit of shale and broken stonework. And you definitely do see out a kind of an arc that goes up, indicating you're at that point. The bridge that Destel had told you was no longer passable. It stands maybe 100 feet wide. And it goes out to a point where you see another tower rising up. This one's squared off, not rounded. It's shorter, squatter, but it appears to be altogether and whole. The wind kind of whips your cloaks. The snow falling as it falls and the wind presses it. It actually stings on your exposed flesh, mostly your faces. And that sort of thing, to remind you of exactly that not only do you have to worry about the creatures, but you also have to worry a bit about the weather. Everybody go ahead and roll me a perception check. Remember, you can re-roll these.
I think I'm good. I got a natural 20.
You sure you don't want to re-roll that?
It's tempted. Very tempting.
I got a 7.
Okay.
I am studying my boots with my 4.
All right.
17.
All right. So both Ashar and Fletch, you both kind of, as you guys slowly kind of move a little bit out onto the platform and your eyes kind of scan around, you both notice a couple things in the stonework and on the side of the left tower that kind of puts a bit of a shiver up your spine. First off, mixed in with all the rubble and shale, you can see two spots that really look like giant claws have actually landed. One of them, you can actually see the points of a very large, maybe 6 or 7 foot wide claw marking, where you can see where the point of the claws actually punctured the stonework. On the other side, you can see, and this is a whole different section, but you can actually see where it looks like the claws, when they slammed in, they clenched. So you can see where they punch in and then they actually tear the stone, and you can see how that looks. And then on the left-hand tower, you can see where the stonework around the edges, where it's kind of been knocked away, you can actually see where it looks like something heavy and as well clawed has landed and sought purchase on the stonework.
Well, that doesn't look good at all.
No.
Fortunately, well, assuming you pointed out,
Yes.
We will definitely point those out.
fortunately, it was here a long time ago.
Doesn't mean it won't come back or isn't still here.
Pointy ear lady, right?
So,
Agna does not definitely want to be anyone's dinner tonight.
And as you kind of gather there and talk a bit, you all hear stone falling. And it's the type of stone falling not from the towers, but falling a great distance. You hear it kind of racking with loud ticks and tacks off the side of some kind of unseen wall as it falls down a distance. There is a reason for the bridge, and you can kind of see that in between the gusts of snow, where the breezes kind of part a little bit and slam against the walls. You can actually see where it appears to be a great canyon is what this bridge kind of arcs and goes over. You can see that it's at this distance, it's hard to tell how far it goes, but it's at least 100 feet across. And you can hear every once in a while the ticking and tacking and clacking of stones falling down the canyon walls to a great depth, because you actually lose it in the blowing snow.
And so, are we at the bridge?
You're
Now,
about
or is it
50
far?
feet from it. You basically have to cross this open plateau. So there's like this shelf that comes away from the foothills, goes out. Then there's the canyon, and on each side is the towers. And then you can see the bridge arc, and you can see somewhere out on that bridge is a shorter squatter. It looks very much like a defense tower. It doesn't look like these two towers that we're sitting here, and you can only assume that there's two more towers on the other side.
And it's made of stone, pretty solid.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, if people want to take a better look at it, you could go ahead and roll me, let's say, a history.
All
I
right,
got
that
13.
made up for my natural 20. It's a natural 1.
Nice. So we are going to start with Ashara. What'd you get?
4.
Shanhas.
13.
13. Agna.
Same with me, 13.
All right. So Agna. So everybody who basically got above a 12, you can all easily tell that this craftsmanship, the way the stones are carved, even though they're of great age and some of them are pocked and chipped and broken, you can see the dwarven craftsmanship. And as you move across, I'm assuming that you're going to move across the shelf and make your way towards the bridge. As the towers come in closer and closer, you can actually see statues at the base of these towers, some of them broken, a head broken off here. Wow, holy cow. Thank you, Shauna, for the 1700 bits. You're not indicating what you're going to do with those, so I'm going to say, as with everybody else, everybody gets another reroll, unless she says otherwise. Thank you so much, Shauna. Super appreciate that. So you can see that this stonework that is there, the statues and everything, it all indicates dwarven craftsmanship. These stone statues rise up kind of in a strange way, a little bit kind of humorous, because they're about 10, 15 feet in height. But you can see that they are indeed dwarves. But dwarves obviously are more in the 3 to 4 foot range. So it gives you a hint of overcompensation. What little bit of knowledge you may have or interaction you've had with dwarves over the years, they always seem to do things in a grand way. The Iron Crag dwarves, even more so than others, the Iron Crag dwarves are not ruled by a single king or ruling family or anything like that. They're more independent, and they're known for great and grand constructions and technologies. These are the dwarves that create airships, which everybody has seen floating the skies of Midgard. So seeing this, it always seems like the dwarves have always got something to prove, or they're making up for some other shortcoming. So as you get closer, you can see that this is definitely dwarven make, and you can also see. Go ahead and roll me a perception check. You can also see up ahead of you the bridge. Get a better look at the bridge.
Nat 20 on that one.
Wow, nice. All right.
13 again.
All right. So if you get above a 14, no, all right, everybody can already see the short walls, and you can see at points where the walls are maybe 4 feet in height, and at some points you can see where there's broken crenellations. So they are actually, strangely enough, made to be defensible, even though they look out over this great canyon. So it looks that at some point in time, the dwarves had an enemy that came from beneath them or whatever. And you can actually see where points where the wall is broken. You can actually see walkways on the outside as well, where the dwarves walked. And you think at one point you see where there's possibly stairs that were carved that go down to the underside of the bridge. They're now far and away broken away. But you see these crenellations, and as you look out, you can see where the bridge appears to have collapsed. You can see where the arc continues, but there's just a little bit of a shift in difference. And you can't tell from where you're at now, but it certainly looks like the bridge is not in one piece.
Do you guys think we could use those walkways to get across?
Well, let's...
+5 to Stump-O-Matics roll. To use it you will, good sir. Thank you, Rainey. So yeah, the wind is hitting you. The snow is getting inside your cloaks. It's hard to even keep them closed up. Everything's snapping about and snapping around. You do see that the only way forward really is, well, you have 2 ways to go. You can turn back around and fail the Grim, or you can press onwards and see where this bridge takes you.
I guess with this wind and this storm, I would rather I'm thinking we walk and have, on whichever side of the bridge, the wall that's there, the side of the bridge would cut the wind. You understand?
Yeah, I think that's a good move.
Yeah, I can try it.
Hopefully, once we get to the break, it's something we can it'll just be a couple inch crack that we can easily step over, I'm sure.
All right, so you guys are going to kind of continue to move along the bridge itself and slowly make your way. It's kind of precarious at times. You can actually see at points as you begin to cross over the bridge. You can see at points like where there's gaping holes in the structure of the bridge itself, and even by looking down, you lose where these stones that you can hear are falling, you lose where they're going. It's just nothing but a hazy mist down below. You can hear them clack for a distance, and then you lose the sound of them. And as you move along the bridge, you see several points of this. And as you begin to get closer to where it kind of crests up, you can see that other more fortified looking tower, and it even begins to look more fortified as you can see a small wall around the base of it. But what strikes you a little bit more is the fact that you can now see that gap between the part of the bridge that you're walking on and the platform and the great pillar that you see rising out of the mist that rises and kind of arcs up and holds this giant platform in front of you. You can see a rickety rope bridge. You can see broken bits of wood platforming and planks, and you can see it's about a good 100 feet, and it sags, and you can see the wind kind of whipping it side to side, and you can see that is possibly your only way. You see these two great iron rusted like pitons that have been driven into the bridge itself, maybe about 5 feet back from the edge. You can see how they're heavily rusted. They've been here easily for 50, 60, maybe 70 years or longer. Long forgotten. You can see stretches on the bridge as it kind of flows back and forth. You can see gaps of about 5-6 feet on the swinging bridge, and at one point you see the bridge swing up and you see another plank snap away, and instead of falling, a great gust comes and whips it right back over your head, and it slams in and skits across behind you on the bridge. This is apparently your only possible way across, unless you want to make a perception check. And because of the whipping and winding snow, I'm going to say this perception check is at a disadvantage.
No.
Yeah,
no,
that
no,
doesn't
no,
look
no,
like a little crack to me.
No.
Oh gosh.
So we're going to start with the kobold, Fletch.
13.
All right. And we're going to go with the bearfolk, Agna, next.
Oh gosh. Wait, I rolled twice for disadvantage, correct?
Right, and you take the lowest.
Okay. Oh gosh, 20. Oh shoot.
Wow. Really good. And Shan Haas, our dragonborn.
18.
18. Okay, so much for disadvantage. And Ashar.
5.
There we go. That's what I like to hear. A 5. So both Agna and Shan Haas, you, as you kind of look at this pillar that's out in front of you, you can see as you look down up and down the length of this great granite pillar, you begin to realize that this pillar at some point in the far past was actually carved out of stone and built up to where it is now. And you can see it disappear down below, and you see it disappear into these misty clouds, maybe 500-600, maybe 700 feet beneath you. But you see at one point, as a bit of the clouds shift, you see another bridge that kind of arcs over and through the mist. So like at the highest point of the arc, it kind of pops out. It looks to be significantly smaller than this one. It also looks to be stone-like. And it's about 500-600 feet down. And you can see on that pillar, you can see what appears to be possibly windows carved out of it, and you can see what appears to be like ironwork or stonework stairs that are moving along it, and you can see a couple points where it looks like doors. You also, since Agna, you got a relatively good score, you think, however, for a brief moment that you see something circle around the far pillar. You see at first what looks to be like a glint of white, and it kind of shines, but as it turns, that white glint kind of turns to a reddish kind of flash off of it. You think you see a wing kind of leathery snap and you see some swirls of the clouds as it kind of ducks down back and underneath. If you would like to roll a nature check, you can do such.
Yeah,
see
that's
if
what
you can
I'm gonna
identify this.
do. Okay, let's see what I get. Oh, 19.
19. As you kind of look and you process it in your mind, and you kind of flip through and you go through all your training and your learning and all that stuff, there's only a couple things that it seems like it could possibly be. The first is a wyvern, which makes complete sense because, as Drestel, your guide, had said that there were wyverns up here. The Grim Company warned you of wyverns. Wyverns are quite common in this area, so that makes complete sense. And that one's not quite as bad. The next one is possibly a drake, which in your mind is maybe something a little bit bigger, a little bit nastier. And then there's the final thing that pops into your head, and that is a dragon. You didn't get a good enough look at the wing or scales or whatever it was that gave that flash, but it's one of those three. It doesn't equate that it would be a bird or something like that.
Okay, I'm gonna warn the party about this. Guys, don't freak out, but good news, there's another bridge, but there might be a wyvern or a dragon that might eat us. Don't want to worry you too much.
Yeah, that's concerning, but I would rather face something that bleeds than try to cross that rope bridge. Because that rope bridge looks like certain death.
True.
Or we could, I know it must only be like 1 or 2 in the afternoon.
Yeah, about there.
I mean, it's early, but we could just camp in this tower here and hope that the storm passes, and then maybe this rope bridge would be safer to travel tomorrow.
Nope.
Don't think that rope bridge is safe to travel ever.
Fletch needs solid ground. Fletch don't like
Yeah.
bridge.
So
Pretty old, so I don't mind taking the other one.
let's look to see if we can find stairs or a way into this tower and see if there's stairs going down here. If everybody think, I mean, that's
So what are you guys going to decide on doing? You do remember that you did see a point on the other side of the crenellations where it kind of looked like there might have at one point in time been ways down, like stairs going down on the outside of the crenellation.
Let's go take a better look at those.
Okay.
yeah.
go
we'll
ahead.
Look at those.
Okay, go ahead, everybody, and roll me an investigation check, if you will. Let me know if you get a 12 or higher. We'll make it easy.
Ooh.
Natural 20.
Nice.
Oh my god, I'm 22.
All right. So Agna and Ashar, upon a little bit of looking, you do discover that there was at some point in time what appears to be several points. There's 2 points on the left-hand side and 2 points on the right-hand side that look like they were stairs going down. But what you now find, out of all 4 of them, there's only one, and that's one that's close. It's on the right-hand side and closest to the split. And that one would require you basically to not toss a dwarf. You would have to make a jump a la Lord of the Rings from one section to another section, and you can see by looking over that there are indeed splits in the stone. You did also manage to locate the fact that in the right-hand tower, the bigger of the towers, that there does appear to be a door that's kind of broken off, the wood long gone, the hinges rusted away, but it looks like there's stairs going down in that tower. And the tower is actually built on a point of the shelf that you're on where it looks like it would have to somehow go down the walls, but you can't get a good enough look to see.
How far of a jump would it be?
It would be kind of a downward jump and probably a good 10 to 15 maybe feet or so. a jump at this angle that a human half elf, somebody of height could probably make. Not so sure about something like maybe a kobold or a dwarf or a gnome.
Let's check out the tower then and see where those stairs lead.
All right. So you guys all make your way over to the right-hand tower. And as you kind of get over there's an odd and strange smell that kind of rises up and out of it. And you can't quite place your finger on it. But as it hits your nose, there's a familiarity to it. And I will go ahead and let you roll a nature check to see if you can cipher out what it is. But it does cause you to hold up at the door.
Oh, all right. Who passed gas? I got a 1.
All right. So Ashar,
14.
Agna,
19.
Fletch,
9.
9. So Agna and Ashar once again. You kind of hold up a bit. And you probably actually put your arms out to stop everybody else because the smell is odd. And you can't quite place it at first, but as you take in a couple deep inhales, you smell at first eggs, and then they smell a bit rotted, and a sulfury smell kind of sets in on your nostrils. And there's a warmth that comes up. It's very faint, and it indicates in your mind that whatever this is, it's down there a ways. It's quite distant, but there's a warmth that rises up, and it meets the chill, and it's weak enough that the chill of the wind and the air quickly replaces it, but that smell seems to have seeped into the stonework itself. But it's distant.
No, don't like that.
This is sure is nasty, Mama would say.
Let's kind of like it.
Yeah, to Fletch, it
Of course you do.
seems like something your mama would have made or grandmother would have made back in the day. It reminds you kind of a dish that your grandmother was quite well known for, which was baked sulfured eggs. They were never kobold eggs. They were always eggs from surrounding areas and other creatures. But she was quite faint. It was a kind of done in a stoneware casserole type thing on steaming hot springs.
Fletch
Well,
is going to immediately start heading towards the door.
I guess it's either this or we throw the kobold over the edge. So I think he's made his decision, and I'll follow after him.
All right.
All right, then. I'm okay. I go right after.
And I will bring up the rear.
As you begin to descend these stairs, it's only after maybe 20 or 30 steps as they kind of begin to curl and wrap down and around. Are everybody here able to see in the dark, or do you guys need to light a torch or a lantern or something along those lines?
Take a look.
I have dark vision.
I will have to light a torch.
Okay. As you kind of begin to course your way down, after about 15-20 stairs, you notice that the aroma begins to intensify, as does the warmth. And the mixture of the warmth and the cold that seeps in, you can see a bit of glistening beginning to form on the stonework and on the stairs, kind of around and in front of you. Who is taking up the lead?
Fletch.
Fletch. So as you step forward, Fletch, you feel almost instantaneously as the step that you put your small little clawed foot down onto kind of crumbles away, almost like a wet sand. Go ahead and roll me a dexterity save, please. Everybody sees Fletch kind of, his foot slide out from underneath of him, and he kind of begin to lose his balance.
Say 22.
But he quickly manages to snap a clawed hand out and catch himself against the wall. You can see like some of this kind of almost granular sand and stone mixture kind of slough off and slide ahead of you, indicating that the way ahead is not going to be necessarily fun. Do you continue or do you go back up?
Fletch will turn to the group and, without saying a word, more or less big old puppy dog eyes. I want to keep going, but I'll let you guys decide.
I still think it's the best option. We'll just have to take our time and walk carefully.
Go slow.
All right, you guys spend roughly about the next 20 to 25 minutes slowly eking your way down these curving stairs, and you get the definite that there's an inner core to the tower for strengthening and that sort of thing, or maybe even for wenching things up that you can't see. And that's what these stairs wrap around. But as you go deeper and deeper, the chill from above you and the raging storms outside of the Iron Crags are quickly replaced by a rising warmth that begins to feel a lot like laundromats or areas where people would clean your clothing and that sort of thing. Huge vats of steaming water as this steam, and you eventually come to points where you can actually see condensation a little bit in the air. And as you step around one final corner, you can actually see an area where the wall of the tower breaks away and it exits into a maybe about an 8 or 9 foot wide long tube that disappears into the wall of what you can only assume to be the canyon that you're traipsing your way down. You can feel that intense heat and that kind of sulfurous smell kind of definitely pouring out of this point, where you can actually see like moisture, almost like a waterfall of steam kind of coming over the edge and kind of doing that fog effect on the ground. You can hear somewhere back in that tunnel a clattering and a chittering sound. The stairs continue to wind down, but at this point you've got a choice if you wish to go continue downwards or investigate this cave.
I don't like that sound.
I agree, and I definitely do not wish to leave it behind us, facing unknown whatever below us.
Yeah, I agree.
And as you stand and begin to talk, you notice that your voices reach down that tunnel rather easily. And you hear a little bit more scraping and clattering, and then you hear it. You all see it as you're kind of keeping your eyes on the tunnel. You see a flash of red very, very quickly kind of duck out of the darkness as the tunnel goes on, and you hear some scraping, and then you hear the sound that makes you question your decisions. You hear a little bit of a growl. Come rising up from the tunnel.
Nice kitty.
I'm not sure that's a kitty.
I will hand my torch to someone, take a couple steps forward, and pull out some meat. And here.
So are you gonna enter into the tunnel?
Yeah.
Okay. As you get up there, you quickly, your shoulders and your head bounce off of the ceiling. It is, like I said, about 8-9 feet wide, but it's only about maybe 4 feet in height. And you can see jagged points where there's looks like stalactites and stalagmites kind of coming up and raising up through it. And as you reach in and you pull out a chunk of meat, you hear that same sound once again. And then you hear it answered by another one, and then another one, and then another one. As you see a very slender necked reptilian face with a long snout stick out. You can see these reptilian eyes that are almost flame orange. You can see youthful and unfinished scales, but scales nonetheless. As one of the heads darts from outside darts out from the shadows to kind of stare and look at you, a snarl kind of upon its lips, and you can see jagged fangs rising up and jagged teeth inside lips that kind of fold back. The eyes glint and glisten, and as they do, you can see young horns kind of pulled back. It looks at you and looks at the meat, and it sits there and when it does this sound, you see little puffs of flame eject from its nose, and bits of smoke rise up, and it pulls back in to the ground. This time you hear one deeper in let out another snarling kind of sound. A few seconds pass, and then you hear it. The ground rumbles from the sound. Deeper down, somewhere behind where these things are at, you hear a dark, deep, lion-like roar with a reptilian twinge to it in response.
I will flip it, the meat, and back out.
All right.
And look at everybody else and say, well, you're right. It's not a kitty. Do we want to just try to move quickly down? Or
How does the walls of that tunnel look? Could they be? Could we cause a cave-in?
Go ahead and roll me a nature.
That's a 6.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you look at the cave, and the cave looks fairly solid, and you don't understand geology or mining or anything like that, and it seems like a foolish idea. But I will, since you were looking rather acutely, I will go ahead and give you a perception check.
12.
12, that is good enough. You can actually see claw marks in the stone on the tunnel, and these are claw marks that appear to be going both directions. Like these creatures have come out and onto the stairs, and as you kind of look and you kind of trace where they come, you all kind of notice as Ashar looks around at the stairway that you're in the passageway you're in, and you can see where there are markings that look like smaller claws, very similar to what you saw up above on the shelf. That looks like these things have moved in this stairwell.
okay.
We need to leave. Cross bridge.
You want to
Okay.
go back up to that rope bridge?
No. Go down. Find stone bridge.
I
Do
agree.
the claw marks go down the stairs as well?
They look like they go both directions.
At this point, Fletch is tugging on the fur of his bear-like companion.
Aw. Don't
Run.
worry, Fletch.
Run!
We need
If you
to.
want- Okay. Don't worry, Fletch is fine. It's just they're just really friendly. I'm sure. I'm sure there's a big misunderstanding. I hope.
Can I use shape water to try to make a wall of ice using the moisture in the area?
Can you do what?
Can I use shape water to try to make a wall of ice?
Let me see. You people and your fancy magics and stuff. Yeah, you can freeze it. Yeah, you can freeze it up.
Then I'm gonna attempt to do that and tell everybody to go down the stairs.
Okay, so you see Ashar kind of sit there briefly, move her hands in kind of an interesting and enticing way as she kind of moves it in a circle. And as she does this, you can kind of see some of the moisture that was kind of pulling out of that of the caveway. And you can see how she begins to pull that up. And as she reaches forward, it's almost as if this waterfall of mist and moisture comes up into her hand and rolls off of her hand. And as it rolls forward, you see it begin to sparkle and shimmer in kind of an arcane way until it hits the ground of this cave coming out towards you. At which point you see it stretch out as a kind of shimmering sheet of ice that takes care of the bottom of the cave a little ways in, a bit deeper, maybe about 25 feet or so, and then also up the walls of it. You managed to create a sheet of ice, and you know from past experiences with working this type of magic that it probably isn't going to hold for all too long. And she motions for everybody to head downwards.
Fletch will lead very quickly, though, make his way down the stairs.
Right.
Get away from these things as quick as possible.
The trek downwards seems to go on for probably longer than what it should. Your emotions, the tensions in the air, you're constantly on the lookout now for anything breaking from what appear to be sealed walls, but you're not entirely sure. You think from time to time that you actually hear this roar break up and rise through the canyon walls and all that. And at one point, you actually come down and around, and you kind of let out a sigh, like almost relief, as you kind of come into a room, and you can see where the stairs continue to go down. But in this room, you see that sigh of relief is replaced with one of apprehension as you all almost come grinding to a stop. As in this room, up against the walls and laid out on the ground, are 5 short skeletons that have laid here for at least 30 or 40 odd years. Weapons, armor is rusted, weapons are broken, except for one short sword that leans up against the wall. It's heavily dusted, but it does not seem to be touched by time. But everything else in here kind of looks old and jagged and ancient. Is anybody, you guys just going to move through the room and continue down, or are you going to stop and take a moment to inspect?
I'm just gonna keep going.
You're just going to keep going? What's everybody else going to do?
Fletch likes shiny things, and so he wants to check out that sword.
Okay.
I kind of do as well, to be honest. I'm sorry. I'm curious.
So you see your compatriots, the Shar. What are you going to do, Sean Haas?
I will take a moment to say a prayer over the 5 dead.
Okay.
Just give them time to look at the short sword.
So Ashar, you see both Fletch and Agna begin to kind of look around the room, Fletch darting quickly over to the sword. Fletch, when you get over to the sword, you see as you get over there a hand that is still clasped around the sword. The rest of this creature's body sits maybe about 4 or 5 feet away, the sword resting, the arm dangling along the back of the blade. And just your approach is enough to disturb the air that you see the dust in kind of a waterfall effect begin to break and fall away from it, exposing an impossibly shiny silvered blade. And you can see all around where it looks like a claw that reaches down the blade coming off of the hilt, and then you can see extending beyond that for the first 6 inches what appears to be a peak of a mountain with a tower on it, incredibly well crafted and constructed. And you can see in the blood groove down the center of the blade what appear to be squared off hard runes. And you realize at this moment in time that you're actually looking at a weapon that was wielded by a dwarf easily 50 years ago, if not longer. There is no flesh remaining. The bones are all dry and brittle. But there's one other thing that catches your attention on this creature, and that's the hand. There appears to be a golden ring with a circular disc in the center of it.
Excitedly, I'm going to grab the sword and then just kind of give it a big old shake to get the skeleton hand to let go.
Okay, as everybody sees Fletch grab this sword and just kind of shake it, and you can see dust and debris and dirt and bones clack and clank and all that sort of thing. The hand releases the sword, and the finger that has the ring on it tumbles off, and as it hits the ground, the bones literally split and actually crack, and the ring kind of goes rolling with a shimmering sort of sound around the room. And as it does this, it comes to the stairs and then tinks down the stairs further down into the tower itself. You manage to retrieve the sword, and you can feel the sword kind of vibrating in your hand from the power that's contained in it. And as you sit there and hold it, and everybody go ahead and roll me a perception check.
Oh no. Oh wait. 14.
14. Sean Haas, what'd you get?
I got 14 as well.
And Ashar.
14 as well.
Wow. So as you all kind of are watching this, is this little kobold is shaking everything off, and this ring goes, and he's sitting there and he's holding this sword, and you can see his reptilian eyes get large, and his dog-like snout, his reptilian snout kind of brace in this smile. As you can see his hand, and you don't know if it's actually the power of the sword or whatever, but you can see him just like he found the greatest thing ever. The power courses up and over your hand, and you feel this incredible need to sit and just hold this sword. You know it has secrets, and you know if you could just take an hour or two, you could probably figure it out and decipher the runes, and it would talk to you. Up the stairs the way you came, you hear and you hear these clicking kind of sounds on the walls. As you can imagine in your mind's eye, one of those dragon-like creatures pulling itself out and away. You can hear bits of what sound like icicles snapping and breaking. So you know you probably have a little bit of time. But
we need to go.
But you, Fletch, you found something here.
I will grab the kobold and say we need to go.
Fletch, I know you have found a new shiny toy or whatever, but we should go now.
Hissing and trying to bite at our little half elf. Fletch, mine.
You can have it. We need to go.
You can look at it later. We need to go now.
Those nasty things upstairs are coming for us right now. My spell won't last.
Another big old puppy dog eye look. But
no.
Shiny.
No.
Not even.
I wiggle my finger at him. No.
Just very angrily, still holding onto the sword, just kind of dragging it by my side, letting it kind of scrape across the stonework.
And as she grabs onto you and you guys have this conversation, you, Fletch, go ahead and roll me a perception check.
That is an 18.
You notice as she kind of half is holding you and reprimanding you and all this, out of the corner of your eye, you see a scabbard, a sheath that obviously belongs to this sword. It's about 5 feet away from you, kind of sitting almost at knee length on that dwarven skeleton that obviously at one point in time wielded this great and mighty kobold weapon.
I'm gonna attempt to break free from the half-elf's hold and just grab the scabbard and give it a big old wrench, try and break it through the spine.
Fletch kind of tries to pull away from you. Are you going to try and maintain hold of him?
Yes.
All right. So go ahead, both of you. Go ahead and give me an acrobatics, Fletch, and I want an athletics from Ashar. So what did you get, Ashar?
14.
What'd you get, Fletch?
15.
You grab and he twists in some kind of bizarre way that you weren't sure living beings could twist. He almost folds himself backwards and bends and flexes his shoulders and does manage to escape your grip. Quickly running over, you snap up the scabbard, and when you do that, the dwarven skeleton crumbles and clatters and clacks. And this sets off kind of a domino effect as the skull kind of hits the ground, rolls a little bit, the jaw kind of flips away, taps into another skull, and gradually all the skeletons and this kind of cacophonous sound kind of emits out of this room, this hollow, empty room. Somewhere in the mix of it, you can still hear the ring tinking and tinking and tinking further down the stairs. And you can now hear the scraping, the claw sound, and that snarling kind of almost alien reptilian sound now hitting stone. Like maybe the first one is past the icy patch and now clacking its way down. And you hear that as it begins to come down. This time, before it was more kind of juvenile and curious, now it's more angry.
Can I grab one of the skulls and chuck it down the stairs so it makes even more noise going down?
Oh yeah, sure. What's your intention?
Make it sound like we're going down, and then we just go the opposite direction.
Well, they're coming from above you, and then they dump into a completely empty room with the stairs kind of in the center, continuing down. So there's no real place for you to hide.
There's no other exit from the room. We have to go
Nope.
down.
You have to go down.
We can go
Crap.
down or up. But we can get them and hopefully they'll just keep going down.
Are you suggesting we hide or attempt to hide in here?
Yes.
Is there even a area?
As you scan the room, there literally is no area. If that thing comes in here, you're going to have to definitely engage it.
Okay, well, engaging it here on this flat surface is going to be better than retreating down the stairs.
No. Mama up there, we run.
You didn't want to run. You wanted your shiny. Now Mama's coming down the stairs at us.
I have shiny, we run.
It's too late.
In protest, Fletch will pull from off of his back his unused shield that he's kept his entire time, throw it down on the stairs, and sit on it and kind of scoot towards to kind of use it as a sled.
So you guys see Fletch pull out the shield, set it down, and begins to scoot it closer and closer to the edge of the stairwell going down. Is anybody going to try to stop him? All right. And
I'll give him a little push.
And you hear the steel, the metal of the shield scrape on stone as the little kobold goes shooting down the stairway, disappearing from sight. You can hear the claws. The claws aren't rushing or charging. They are moving very calculated, like trying to grab and find purchase. And they're still kind of a ways up there. You can certainly stand and try to get into a defensible position, or you can make your way down. You can follow your buddy Fletch.
I will start going down the stairs after him.
Yep.
All right.
Fletch.
And all you hear is
You make your way to the steps, and as you begin to make your way into the steps, you realize that the entrance into this set of steps is quite a bit smaller than the entrance coming into the room. And you can almost play out in your mind that whatever it is that's coming down their stairs may have a more difficult time pursuing you. Fletch, as you go shooting and rocketing down the stairs, it points the shield kind of coming up so that you got one edge of the shield riding on the steps themselves, the other edge of the shield up on the wall, and it's kind of banking around. You quickly catch up, and you can hear it in all the noise, the tink, tink, tink. And as you come around one corner, you see that golden ring hit a step and bounce into the air.
I'm gonna attempt to snatch it.
Go ahead and roll me a dexterity.
I'm gonna use one of my rerolls.
How's it going, Prinny?
All right, well, 18.
18. You manage to reach your hand out and you snap up the ring, you bring it in. And as you kind of take your hand, you snap your hand out and you close around it and your hand comes back. You see the ring, and on the face of the ring is the similar kind of a design to what you saw on the sword, minus the dragon's hand or the dragon's claw. It's just a spiraling mountain peak, and it looks like there's something carved on it, but you don't have enough time. As you snap into your hand like that, you feel the shield, since you no longer are holding it and guiding it as best you can. You feel the shield kind of begin to tilt and begin to tumble off the side. I need another dexterity save from you, my good sir.
Oh, I'll take that one. 23.
23. As it comes around the corner and it starts to roll itself over, you don't know where you thought of it, but the move works quite well. You actually hop your body and turn in midair so that you literally hop, pull it away from the wall, and twist yourself and land as it comes skittering into a snow-filled room. You ride the shield across the room and slam into a snowbank. How fast are the rest of you going down these steps?
I am moving at a speed so that I don't fall.
No, I'm booking it down the stairs.
Hey, we have a raid from Damage Dice. Thank you, good sir, for the raid. Let's get some anvils in that chat, please, guys. Let's not let them take all of our fun stuff. Welcome, guys. Thank you for the raid, Damage. Super appreciate it. We need to get together and get some collab stuff going. And if you need to come play on our channel, and we will come and play on your channel. Flo Morpheus, thank you for the subscription. Super appreciate it. Super, super, super appreciate it. So anyways, you guys get down there, and it's not that far of a distance, so you get there fairly quickly. And as you come exiting down into that room, what you see is your little kobold friend, Fletch, on his shield. He has apparently rode it down the stairs, and he's gone and hit a snowbank of built up snow and ice, has ramped up this, and is now kind of sitting there shooting and rocketing up this ice and snowbank up the wall, and has now just hit the ceiling. He is now inverted and is literally skittering across the ceiling. And at first you almost think it's something hilarious. It's funny to see this. And then you realize that he's not coming right back at you. He's kind of angled off, and you can see him going towards this huge gaping opening. This isn't an opening in the room that's caused by damage. It's not caused by years of neglect. It was obviously crafted and created this way because you see that stone bridge that Agna had noticed earlier stretching out, but you notice the first 5 to 10 feet of it is missing, and that is where your kobold friend, about 10 feet up in the air, is rocketing off towards.
And I try to jump up and knock him. I'm not trying to catch him. I'm just trying to push and knock him out of the path, aiming for that.
So you're going to try and jump up? Yeah, go ahead and roll me in athletics. See if you're able to jump up there and get your paws onto him and hold on.
I'm going to use my +5. That is an 11. That gives me an 18.
That gives you an 18. So everybody sees the Dragonborn Sean Haas kind of take like 2 quick steps, run and kind of bolt into the air, jump up into the air and reach out, his hand grabbing the edge of Fletch's shield and pulling that downwards. As he does this great change in momentum happens, Fletch, and you feel your shield kind of rip away from you. I need a strength check from you to see if you can manage to hold on to the shield. I want to welcome everybody that came over here from Damage Dice. That's a hell of a good guy and a great community of his own over there. Welcome to our little show. Super glad to have you guys. What'd you get?
5.
Ooh, that's quite nice. So you manage, Sean Haas, to grab onto his shield and you pull it with your strength, and you feel the shield at first there's a bit of weight resistance to it, and then it kind of goes quite a lot less as you kind of land back down on the ground. The shield comes down, slams into the ground, and you realize that Fletch is not on the shield. Fletch, you are torn away from the shield from momentum, and you are still rocketing, kind of falling outwards. You're just about at the edge of this great opening, and you've cleared like the edge of the bridge. You know that you're gonna go, and all you see is this milky, puffy clouds that everybody saw from 500-600 feet up on the great broken dwarven bridge. As you're screaming forward, yes, what's everybody else going to do?
There's snow in here, right?
Yes, there is. There's snow, ice.
I'd like to use shape water again. And I'd like to try to make something resembling a ramp kind of curved to catch him and bring him back towards us. I just don't want him going out.
Okay, make me, just because of the speed that he's moving at and as fast as it's going to take, and it's super quick thinking, you're going to have to modify some stuff. You begin to work your hands into a spell, and you know it's going quicker than you probably want. I'm going to go ahead and say, roll me an Arcana just to say if you're able to fashion it fast enough. You, in front of you, Fletch, you actually see a bit of what appears to be a metal like bar coming down, and you see that it shapes kind of an H, and it looks like a broken off piece of a metal, like a ladder or something that was used to maybe get up and work on the outside of the tower or whatever, and you are screaming right at it. Hey Prinny, thank you for the host, super appreciate it, enjoying the love, thank you guys. So first off, you're casting, what'd you roll for your Arcana?
So I rolled a 5, and then I used a re-roll, and that gave me a 20.
Okay, so you got a 20. What are you gonna do, Fletch? You see that ladder kind of hanging down in front of you. You can probably stretch out to grab it, and that looks to you, as far as you know, to be the only possible way.
Yeah, that is exactly what I'm gonna do.
All right, go ahead and roll me in acrobatics, actually.
I'm gonna use my second reroll. That's much better. That's a total of 20.
That is a total of 20. And right as you begin to reach out towards this ladder, you see the sheet of sparkling blue translucent crystalline water or ice kind of form up in front of you, and you're able to turn your shoulder into it. You roll into this great icy wave that appears in front of you. You slam into it. You hit it hard enough that I'm actually going to give a percentage chance. 50% and lower, it breaks the ice. You hit it, and everybody hears like almost silence descend on the room as you hear and you see bits of ice fall off of the side as Fletch turns his shoulder from a grab into a roll, slams into the ice. You see the very top of the ice crack and fall off as Fletch comes sliding down the slide, the bottom part of the wave, and rolls back into the room, poofing into a great giant mound of snow. Fletch pops his head out. You can see he's got like snow sitting on his snout and above where his ears and stuff are at, eyes wide. That is where we're going to take our first break tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, everybody, for coming and hanging out. We are going to be back in about 5 minutes. Please continue to hang out. Got a couple announcements, and then we'll get back to doing this. We probably have another good 2 to 2.5 hours worth of this to go. We're not even at the first stopping point. So please hang out with us. We'll see you guys again here in just a little Oh, there we go. I think I'm back. I think we're back. We're back. Hey, I remember how to do it. It's been so long since I've streamed. So yeah, I have gotten messages. Welcome everybody. Thank you guys for sticking around. I've got messages for people wondering where we were at. We have not been doing a lot of streaming. We are shifting into our brand new May schedule, guys and gals. It is going to be a wonderful thing. You're going to see a lot more streams coming up. Tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, do the right thing. You owe it to yourself. Tune in to this channel tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, because we have a very special guest that's going to be appearing on a one-shot called Of Owl Bears and Honey. I am speaking of none other than Bad Eye, Adam Bradford, the big boss from over at DDB, D&D Beyond. And if you don't know what D&D Beyond is, go check it out. D, the letter N, dbeyond.com. Do yourself a favor, get yourself edumacated, because that website is the best set of tools you'll ever find for 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. I have a special spiel tomorrow night, but anyways, tomorrow night, Adam Bradford is going to be joining us for a very special one-shot. That's at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Come check that out. The rest of this weekend is going to be loaded with games. We have 3 different campaigns, 2 brand new and kicking off, 1 more that's coming in for a second episode, all 3 based in the world of Midgard that we're playing in right now, which is and was and will forever be crafted and created by the wonderful folks over there at Kobold Press. That's about all I've got for continuing announcements, I think. Stick around afterwards. We are going to go do a raid, as those great people have come and raided us. We are going to raid and pass it along and spread the love of this fantastic tabletop role-playing community here on Twitch, and we're going to spread it out. Also, come over afterwards, jump in on our, there's a spider up there, jump in on our Discord voice chat, and we will go ahead and be all gathered in there for at least a little while tonight, chitting and chatting it up and talking about things. So feel free to do that. If you are brand new to our channel and you don't have a damn clue why you're here, how you got here, or what we're about, we are Forged at the Table. We're all about building a tabletop role-playing game. I just spittled onto my microphone. Tabletop role-playing game community that is all about geeks and nerds that have a passion and a love for this wonderful hobby coming together. We also fill all of our games, or as many of our games as we can, with our followers and our subscribers. That's where these 4 wonderful people came from. We currently have about 45 different people involved either in playing in games, running the games, or doing vice versa. We have 5 dungeon masters on board, and we're hoping to add some more. So come on, drop a follow on our channel, get over on our Discord, and get together with us and play some games. And Fletch comes to a rolling stop, slamming into the big giant mound of snow. His snout has got a little pile of snow. His eyes are wide. Fletch, you just went on the ride of your life. You're muted. You're muted.
Muted.
My bad. I'm
There we go.
Sorry. So I'm gonna pop my fist out of the snow, still clenching the ring, and I got the shiny.
I'm glad you got the shiny.
So you all stand in this roughly 25-foot across circular room. You can hear the reptilian creatures, the weed creatures, whether they were drakes, dragons, wyverns, whatever. You can hear them snarling, jaws snapping loudly at the entrance to the stairs coming down to the room that you're at. And you don't believe that they can make their way down, although you can constantly hear the sound ringing down the stairs. And then you hear kind of a slamming sound, something solid hitting rock, and your eyes look out on what you see in front of you, and that is this bridge that stretches out for at least 100 feet to the base of the pillar that you saw from 500-600 feet above. And you can see these milky white clouds, the doom that Fletch was on his way to meet, kind of wafting over the bridge. So at one point you can actually see the bridge. At another point it's gone. It vanishes from your vision. But one thing remains, and it kind of chills your blood. There are no apparent railings on this bridge. The bridge is about 10 feet wide, and you can see just from standing where you're at where there are holes where this bridge, like the one above, has been broken over neglect, time, things falling. And speaking of things falling, you hear a sickening sound above you as again you hear something snarl and slam into stone. And when this happens, you hear the shifting of stones come down the stairway, just the sound, along with that snarl sound. And you see first one, then two, then three, then four, then a small shower of bits of stone falling from the outside of the tower, dropping down and tinking off the small platform where this bridge hits. It appears that your friends upstairs are making a door of their own. You apparently have angered them.
No. Here come mommy.
I think we should go across that bridge.
Are you going to start making your way across the bridge?
Okay.
Yeah, I think we are.
All right, so let's go ahead and who's in the lead?
I'll go first.
Okay, Sean is lead. Second is
I'll go.
all right, Ashar. Next,
Fletch.
I'll take third. Oh, never
Nope.
mind.
Fletch third.
Fletch third. And then Agna, the giant bearkin, the bear folk is the third one. If you folks are unaware really quickly of Midgard, the wonderful setting by Kobold Press, head on over to koboldpress.com after the stream and after the voice chat and check it out because it is a quite the awesome setting. I think you're gonna be hard pressed to find a better one. Anyways, so you guys begin to slink your way out onto the bridge. It is hard stone, but again, it's kind of unsettling because now that you kind of come out from the inside of the tower, one, you can see as you kind of cast a glance back up behind you and trail your eyes up the outside stone of the tower. You can see a small, maybe 1.5 wide by 6 or 7 inch gap where the stone has been busted away, and you can see this red snout, this lizard-like snout snapping its way out, a tongue coming out and wiggling out as it finally pushes its head out and some more stone comes falling down. It looks down at you and gives you a great reptilian sound as it kind of snaps its jaws wildly in the air. The breeze picks up and the bridge in front of you vanishes in the clouds. You begin to continue to inch your way forward slowly and gingerly, I'm assuming, or are you going to make it rather quick?
I am moving cautiously.
Cautiously? All right. So since you're moving cautiously, Sean Haas, I will go ahead and let you, as you're kind of placing your foot out in front of you, you remember seeing when the clouds kind of shift and bound over this bridge. First off, you can hear stones that are falling from somewhere and again being lost. So there's several hundred more feet below this bridge. And above you can see the great underside expanse of the other bridge. And as you look up, you can actually see dwarven stonework where it looks like there's actually buildings and stuff underneath the underside of the bridge itself. Like they built like a small town or whatever underneath of it. And you can see another, what it looks like there was another span of a bridge that had either been started or was stopped or something like that. But you also remember seeing that there are these gaping holes as you're moving along. So you stretch out with your foot and go ahead and roll me a perception check if you would.
That is a 17.
A 17. You notice two things. Your foot kind of comes to the edge and you feel nothing underneath of it. And you're easily able to move yourself off to the side. But in a great gust of wind, you hear a bit of a crack kind of echo out from up above you. And you see at first it looks like a small pebble hurtling from above you down and down. And as it gets closer and gains speed, it begins to grow inside. The small pebble, as it transcends the 600 feet down towards you, grows to about 4 feet wide. And you can see now how several of the buildings up there, just from deterioration and long forgotten misuse, have begun to fall apart. And you now see one coming streaming down towards you, and it barely misses the bridge by maybe a foot. The whoosh of it as it goes by is enough to swirl the clouds in front of you, pull them, draping them off the edge of the bridge. And you hear somewhere very far down, you hear that loud clacking, cracking sound as it hits not the bottom, but it hits something else solid down in the canyon, and you hear a shower of rocks. As it pulls it, your breaths, all of them, kind of get caught in your throat as you look out and you see about a 10 to 15 foot expanse where the bridge does not go any further. It drops away, and the next part of the bridge is about 15 feet in front of you. The breeze picks back up and closes off that gap. You hear some hissing and more stones falling from behind you. Go ahead and everybody roll me a perception check, please. Let me know if you get a 14 or higher.
I did.
Okay.
I did, yeah.
Okay. So both Agna and Fletch, you both hear something like it's bad enough that you just saw this expansive bridge, which there's no bridge there, and it's quite the distance. You saw that big giant falling boulder-like rock from above you. Now you hear down in the depths, you hear this kind of whooshing sound, and then the snap of what sounds like leather snapping against the wind. And you hear kind of a as it goes through underneath. It's very faint and quite far away. And this might, to a normal adventurer, settle your nerves. But if it's that far away and you can still hear it that clearly, might not be a good thing.
No.
No, definitely a no.
Mama's here.
Run, jump, go.
Fletch, no jump.
I'll throw ya.
No.
No. If it,
You want to
if it
go
makes
back?
No.
if it makes you feel better, how about you hold on to me and I'll jump? Will that make you feel better? Okay.
All right. So are you guys going to kind of just run? You can't quite see where the edge is at. The cloud cover that covers the bridge kind of, once again, you can see off in the distance the span where kind of the bigger bridge was at. You can see where that kind of crosses and arcs up out. But as you kind of look, go ahead and roll me a nature. Just, we'll say a nature to cover this. As you're kind of looking at the situation, kind of processing it, taking it in as fast as you can.
23.
Nice.
I got 13.
13. Fletch.
10.
10. Ashar.
20.
So Ashar and Agna, as you're both kind of quickly taking this in, you realize that when you were up top and you were looking down, you were actually looking down in an angle where the arch of the bridge came out of the clouds. And you now realize, for some reason you didn't realize it before, but that bridge that used to go all the way to the platform had to have gone somewhere. And it's very, very likely that it went down because you haven't seen a whole lot of floating bridges in your time. Bridges don't sprout wings. So this kind of comes to both of you at the same almost exact point in time that 600 feet above you, that huge expanse of stone had to have come down at some point. So you kind of begin to formulate in your head that you may be missing a great big giant chunk of stone. And you see that poor little rope bridge, 600 feet, now nothing more than a thread in the sky, whipping back and forth. And stone falls behind you. What are you guys going to do?
Fletch will scramble up the back of Agna and hold on for dear life.
Okay, I'll guard our backs, our rears.
So who's going to kind of make the jump or go to make the jump first?
I probably am.
All right. So as you, I'm assuming you're going to go running towards the edge of the bridge to kind of build up enough speed to clear it.
Yes, running on all my 4 bear paws.
All right. So you see the mighty bear folk Agna. She hits the ground and begins to just charge. Her claws finding purchase in the rough stone bridge as she's making her way forward. And she goes to leap. You begin to lock your muscles for that big giant push. And a breeze slips across the bridge's surface. And you realize that you're about 4 feet short of the actual edge as you launch into the air. Go ahead and make me, I'm going to say because you're using bear power, we're going to go ahead and say that you have to make a strength check to gain enough strength to make your way across.
Okay, bear power activate. Okay, so 17 work?
The 17, you get yourself up and airborne, and your weight is carrying you across. And about mid-flight, you kind of can tell that you're probably going to make it. But then you notice that only maybe the front half of you is going to make it because of the extra weight, the fact that you're not very aerodynamic, and you kind of have a kobold riding your back. So all of this is coming together to create quite a bit of drag on your body, and you slam with a great as air spits out in front of you. Your chest cavity kind of collapses back and in, forcing the air out of you, and you immediately start to scramble. 2 things that we need to have happen. Fletch, are you going to now jump off of your bear companion and get onto the other side of the bridge?
Absolutely.
Okay, I need a dexterity check from you, and I need a dexterity check from our bear folk Agna to try and grab on to the what purchase she can find. So what'd you get, Fletch?
Total of 20.
Total of 20. So what'd you get, Agna?
Oh, thank goodness. I got a 21.
A 21. As you're kind of trying to find purchase on the bridgeway in front of you, your claws are scraping, you begin to feel a weight. It's not a lot, but it's enough to disrupt you. And hey, she's out of the witness protection program, ladies and gentlemen. The weight is enough to cause you to shift, and you realize that the kobold is abandoning bear. And you see as you're trying to, and you just at the edge, the very edge, you get your claws to lock in, and you see Fletch launch himself off of your back, tumble onto the bridge, come up looking at you. What you see, Fletch, is you see Agna's face, her snout, her great bear snout kind of coming out and sticking up over the edge. You can hear rocks and stuff tinkling away as she's kind of got her claws locked in. Agna, I now need a strength.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Good thing I got some rerolls. All right. Oh, 7. Okay, strength check, right?
Yep. So roll a d20 and just add your strength bonus.
Another 21.
Can I assist in any way?
Yeah, actually you can. You can run up and grab her. So as you kind of lock your claws in, how are you gonna run up and assist her?
Specifically grab her ears.
Oh! You little shit!
All right. So you're sitting there, Agna. You've got yourself locked on, and you're just now beginning to tighten your muscles, and you feel your great bear strength. Bear folk are immensely strong, and you feel your muscles begin to ripple under the fur, and you begin to slowly anchor yourself and get ready to pull yourself up, when all of a sudden two things happen. The first thing is that these clawed-like hands grab onto your ears and begin yanking you, trying to get you to come up. That's not the worst thing, because your ears, you're used to having your ears nailed in fights and stuff like that. Not that bad. But the thing that's really bad is at the same time that the hands grab your ears, your face, your muzzle, your incredibly heightened sense of smell is filled with the crotch of a kobold. A nervous kobold. A kobold that has now had his nether regions touched by the icy cold snout of a bear folk. The two of you that are back, you see the snow blowing, the clouds wafting across the bridge, and you see it, then you don't see it, then you see it, then you don't see it. But what you see is the bear launch through the air, the kobold kind of like Monty Hawkeye Henson doing some saddle bronc riding, arm out. You see the bear hit, then you see the kobold no longer on the bear, and now you see the kobold's face, his snout, you see it just briefly, his hands grabbing onto the ears. He's leaned back, a snarl upon his little dragon face as he's baring teeth, his eyes wide, and he's pulling on her and shoving his kobold crotch right in to her nose. What are the two of you back on the bridge gonna do? As the clouds move and you can see this, you can guesstimate where the edge is at. You see that the bear folk made it, and she's got quite a bit of girth to her.
How far?
Safe bear.
How far is it from the edge to just beyond where the kobold is?
To just beyond where the kobold is about 16 feet.
I'm gonna Misty step right behind him and try to help get the bear up.
Alrighty, so you managed easily to Misty step and make your way across and over the gap, and you land just behind the kobold. What are you gonna do, Sean Haas?
Well, I'm going to wait until the bear is pulled up out of the way, and then I will jump myself.
Okay. The winds come up, they roar. The smell that is coming off the crotch of this nervous, overly excited kobold. I don't know if you've ever smelled like a musty, aged, like reptilian enclosure. It's quite bad. I used to raise about 40 snakes. We had a breeding program. I'm very familiar with the smell. But this wafts, it doesn't even hesitate. It just straight, because you're huffing and you're puffing. You've exhausted yourself, and it slams right up your nose. Go ahead and roll me a constitution check as your stomach begins to retch.
Huffing,
End
puffing
me.
blows you away.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Thank goodness. 21.
21. You manage to grit your teeth. You hold in the last bit of food that you had, although it's wrenching. The two of them, because now you see another set of hands come over to help pull you up, and you kind of scrabble and scrabble. And the two of you helping her up, you actually see something rather funny at the very end of it, because you see these little chubby fat bear legs in the back kind of kicking and trying to get her way up. So if you've ever seen like a puppy that's jumped up onto a couch but not quite made it all the way, that's what you're seeing off of this great and mighty bear folk as you guys pull her up. Sean Haas, two things happen. You see the bear folk come up, and then you hear something land on the bridge behind you. A snarl and a hiss.
And I run and jump.
All right, go ahead and roll me an acrobatics.
Okay. I'm going to use my one of my re-rolls.
This is actually, I think, the first time the re-rolls have really come into effect.
Okay. So I rolled an 18, which gives me a 17 for an acrobatics check.
All right. You all see this great and bulky dragonborn chugging out the distance and launching himself into the air. And as he launches himself into the air, everything kind of slows for a moment. As the three of you, both Fletch and Ashar, you see it, and as you get pulled up and manage to turn around, Agna, you see it. Two of these roughly 10-foot long reptilian winged dragon-like creatures that you had seen up before, which are now much more intimidating as you can see their scales glistening in the sunlight piercing down from above. They kind of sit there, take a couple steps forward quickly, and then just fall off the edge of the bridge. You can see the clouds begin to swirl. You hear the hisses and the snaps of leathery wings as Sean Haas is in midair. Please, everybody, roll me initiative.
16.
Just hold them for a second while I figure something out.
Oh,
There
my
we
bad.
are. No, that's all right. That's all right. You didn't do anything wrong. All right. So we have. We're gonna start with Agna. What'd you get?
Oh, 16.
16. Let's go with Fletch.
Got an 18.
18. Nice. We're gonna go with the Shar.
13.
13. And finally, Sean Haas.
6.
Well, that couldn't, if you would see what I just wrote, that couldn't be any more perfect. So Sean Haas is floating kind of through the air, kind of did one of these like these bionic man moves and just
Michael Jordan.
and he's doing one of these things, kind of still moving his legs. It gets about halfway through the air, and those of you that are looking towards him, you can see the swirls of the clouds along each side of the bridge as these winged creatures begin to close fast, exceedingly fast and scary fast. You can't see them, but they are already just about to the edge of the bridge. And you can only imagine what's going on. But Fletch, you in the situation, like all the humor's gone. You sense your friend, your dragonborn friend, in danger, and your muscles tense, and you manage to get the drop on whatever it is that may be swirling those dragon-like creatures. What are you going to do, good sir?
All right. So just want to make sure I got a clear picture. We got Sean Haas hopping over still. And
Yep.
there's two of them right next to each
There's two
other?
of them, one on each side of the bridge.
Okay. About how far apart are they?
Probably about 10 to 12 feet. The width of the bridge is about 10 feet, so they're on each side of that. So probably they're separated by the 10-foot bridge, at least as best as you can tell. So somewhere in that area.
Okay. So I'm gonna pull out my longbow,
All right.
and with my 2 attacks, I'm gonna launch 2 arrows into the drake or whatever on the left.
Okay. The one on the left. All right. Go ahead, good sir.
First one is a 26 to hit.
26 to hit. Yes, your shot. You think you assume lands. You hear kind of a hiss erupt out of the misty fog, the clouds on that side. Go ahead and roll damage.
The second shot was a 24.
The second shot also hits.
10. Total damage of both shots combined is a total of 22.
22. Nice. Your arrow shots, you can see the clouds kind of spin as both of your shots pierce in and through. First one hitting, and then right behind it you can hear that cracking sound of the second one hitting it. And there is a bit of a and then right when the second one follows the first one, you hear that kind of erupt into more of a snarl of pain. And you can almost imagine this dragon-like creature kind of, its flight path kind of twisting a bit as it kind of snaps at your arrows that buried into it. Next up would be the bear folk sitting on her big, sumptuous rump, Agna.
Okay, I'm going to assist my kobold friend by taking out my longbow as well, but go for the one on the right this time.
Go ahead.
Okay. That's 11 hits.
No, you release your bow shot. The arrow screams forward, and just like Fletch's, it spins and causes a swirl in the fog, but you don't hear it hit anything, and it just disappears into the misty vapor.
Oof.
So next up would be Ashar.
How far away are they?
You roughly think that they're probably in a neighborhood of about within 15 feet. Just from the swirls that you see in the clouds.
So I can't actually see them?
No, you can only kind of guesstimate where there are because of the swirls. You saw Fletch and you heard the reaction of Fletch's shots land true, but on the flip side, you also saw Agna release shots into the mist and hers fall nowhere. No reaction to it.
I would like to ready a spell for when I can actually see them, and I'm going to ready a third level shatter.
Ooh. And as Sean Haas is kind of still doing the bionic man thing through the air, he's just about at the top of his arc when two draconic creatures erupt. Clouds swirling around them, peeling off of them, exposing more and more of the body. One is coming up from the left, the other coming up from the right at quick speed. Ashar, are you ready to spell just for this?
I need a Constitution saving throw DC 15 from the one on the left.
From the one on the left. Let me see what these little guys have. Oh, they got a bonus. That's nice. Oh, that's a 21.
It takes half damage then.
Cool. It's the one on the left, the one that's already injured. Why are you guys beating up on him?
So that's a total of 17. He'll take half of that.
17. So I'll take them. It's all right. As your spell lashes out, seeking him, everybody sees Ashar, hears Ashar, her hands whipping. And when she begins to do this, like before you saw the gentle kind of coaxing motion of making the water do her bidding, this time around you see her throw out like a chip of mica, like a little small piece of crystalline kind of rock into the air, and it shoots forward at the reptilian creature. And when it does this, you hear this great crack of thunder rip through. Her voice rises in a chant, and her hands are moving much more. Thank you for the raid, J-Ross. Super appreciate it. My God, that's loud in my ears. Holy Christ. Thank you so much for the raid, my man. Appreciate it. You see her hand, and she's not moving fluidly. She's doing it very like she's breaking things, and her hands begin to do this, and she throws out the mic, and this thunder rips out, and it slams, and you can see the body of this drake or dragon type creature react. As its belly comes up, it slams into its side, and you can see it kind of depress into it. You can see a bit of flame kind of come out, probably involuntary, from its mouth, and it kind of begins to turn it off its pace. And it actually does shoot by Sean Haas. However, when it shoots by Sean Haas, it does manage to snap out a bite towards your dragonborn friend. 23, does that hit you, Sean Haas?
And that will hit me.
All right, cool. Glad for my little dragon friend to be able to do some damage to you. As the bite hits, it kind of bites onto you, but it quickly slides off. So you're not taking full damage from that. You take 3 points of damage. And then as the mouth pulls away, you see the red flame, and that does slam into you as well for another 3 points of damage.
Okay. I am resistant to flame, I believe.
Nice. The other dragon-like creature, the one on the right-hand side, comes up and out of the mist. And whether it's because it sees what happens to its I don't know, its mate, its nest mate, or whatever you want to call it, go ahead and roll me a DC 13 dex save, if you would, as you all kind of guffaw as this great eruption, this gout of flame and a roar escapes and surrounds Sean Haas in boiling, writhing flame.
I got a 16 on the dice dex, so I got a 16, 17 total.
So you're going to take half of this, and then if you have resistance, you'll take half of that. So we have 15, 27, 31 points of damage. So you're going to take 5 points, it looks like. The creature continues to scream forward, and as it does and comes up, its maw opens up. You can see the emission of flame still rolling off of its tongue as it snaps at you as it comes hurtling towards you out of the mist. Missing you completely, its eyes focusing on its compatriot as they kind of cross in front of you. Sean Haas, you could try to swing at one of them, but that may slow down your trajectory to get your way across, or are you going to continue to run across?
I am going to, if I can, like as they cross in front of me,
Yep.
like just reach out with one of my feet that are still kicking in bionic, plant it on one of their shoulders and use that to push me the rest of the way to.
All right. I was going to say a dexterity save. Or no, acrobatics, and I'm going to call for it a disadvantage because you're trying to plant your foot on a moving object that is moving quite good. So we say acrobatics disadvantage.
Okay, which then gives me a 12.
A 12. You plant your foot, and everybody sees it as soon as he plants his foot. This drake-like creature banks, and they both bank off, and you see Sean immediately begin to twist in the air. The trajectory now has him going off to the side. It's not hard to see that he's going to most definitely miss the bridge itself and possibly plummet into the misty clouds beneath. The three of you see this happen. The dragons cross over each other, kind of bank backwards and dive back towards the mist, snapping, and you can see the mist begin to furl and twist and go back up as Sean goes shooting off to the side. He's roughly from where you're at, probably about 8 to 9 feet away from you, because 5th edition really doesn't take into account for weird angles and shit, so it's a straight line measurement. So it's about 8-9 feet away from you. Can't hear you.
You mute yourself.
Gotta stop muting myself. There's not much I can do as Fletch, being tiny. So.
I have nothing.
I'll start pulling out a rope.
Yeah.
So
Maybe
you
a
all
lasso.
Yeah, you all see as Sean is going off to the side, you see him scrambling and you see him produce a length of rope in his hands. What are you going to do with the rope, Sean?
I'm gonna hold on to one end and I'm gonna throw the coil.
And he produces a
Desperately.
computer or something, a monitor out of his pockets and throws that at no. Okay, I'm gonna require a dexterity, no, an athletics. We're gonna call this athletics because this is doing something athletic. So we're gonna say athletics for you to kind of maintain control of it and whip it across and over at your compatriots.
Which will give me a 15.
A 15. You see as he's falling away now, he's at the very top part of the mist. And the mist begins to wrap up, and you hear the hisses and the cracks of these leathery wings once again underneath of you, somewhere in that mist. And the rope lands up onto your part of the bridge just as Sean Haas disappears down into the mist. Is anybody going to make a move towards that?
Yeah, I'll try and grab it.
All right, dexterity.
Me too.
Dexterity. As the rope quickly, as he begins to plummet, you can see the rope kind of begin to uncoil and disappear off and over the edge.
I'm gonna re-roll that. That's a nat 20.
Hey!
Nice. You manage to you run up quickly and you grab like the last 6-7 feet of the rope. What are you going to do? I will give you one free action to do anything you would like to do with that rope.
I'll toss it to the bear.
So she runs up. You guys all see Ashar run up. Her lithe frame, her half-elven blood. She snaps up the end of the rope, turns, and flings it over towards this great bear folk that's standing there, Agna. Agna, you see the rope, and as it's coming to you, you literally see the length of it beginning to go away from you. As Sean Haas is falling and plummeting to his death. Are you going to try to reach out and grab it?
Yeah.
All right, roll me a dexterity. See if you're able to reach out and grab this.
Okay. Oh, sweet. Okay. Okay, I got 21.
21. You managed with your great giant paw. You reach out, and right as you grab it, you feel yourself jerked forward. Sean, you feel the rope snap around. I'm assuming you tried to tie it around you. So you feel it snap around your body. Go ahead. Let me see here. Go ahead and roll me a sleight of hand, if you would, Sean Haas, because we're going to see how well you tied it.
Okay.
Stealing one from Bryway. One of our other dungeon masters, by the way. He's running a game Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Something wicked this way comes. Only on Forge at the Table.
Okay, I got a 14, which gives me a 13.
Yeah, it snaps. The rope snaps, and as your body hits it, you actually see the first tuck over pop out, and you begin to see it kind of unfurl, and your eyes begin to kind of, because this is happening right in front of you as you're plummeting through. There's all the swirling going on, but it seems like it's going to hold. Agna, that rope snaps so hard in your paw. You manage to reach out and grab it with just one paw. That is all. It drags you with enough force that I'm going to require a strength check at disadvantage to see if you manage one-handed to hold your friend Sean Haas in the mist.
Okay.
This is how you set up epic stuff.
Oh no!
And that's an epic answer.
Can I give her my reroll?
Nope.
Can I use my reroll?
Yeah,
Yeah, use your reroll.
if you have a reroll, you can use it.
I'm definitely gonna do that then.
Can I help grab the rope and try to pull?
No, your action was throwing it over to her.
8, not much better.
Not much better. Two things at this point happen. You hear Agna howl out in pain as you see this great plume of smoke escape from her closed bear-like paw as the last 1.5 feet of the rope burns its way through. You hear the sizzle sound as the rope snaps out and falls out over the edge. I also need a dexterity save from you because the action has pulled you forward and off balance. Your paw slams down and rolls off the edge. You are about to join Sean Haas in finding out what is at the bottom of this canyon.
You said at disadvantage, right?
No.
Okay, dexterity save, okay, or throw, right?
Yep.
Okay. Was it throw or save?
Save.
Okay, then I get a 19.
19. You get right to the edge. Both Fletch and Ashar, you see the great bear form of Agna right to the edge. You can see the last little bit of rope disappearing into the mist. You're pretty sure, Sean Haas, that at some point by now that you should have stopped your descent, and your descent isn't stopping. The swirls that are happening around you are quite disconcerting. As you're plummeting further down, I'm going to do a very secret DM roll. As you're plummeting down, you two see Agna's great form kind of doing one of these as I start throwing things around, doing one of these kind of maneuvers. Are either of the two of you going to try to help her?
Sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
Are you Fletch?
I'd like to try something a little different.
Go ahead.
So I'd like to pull my rope that I've had on my pack, create a little bit of a lasso and tie it around the bear's leg, and then leap off after our friend.
Oh my god! Sweet. So you're gonna tie the rope onto Agna really quick, and then leap yourself out to try to dive after Sean Haas. Is that what I'm saying?
Correct.
All right, I will go ahead and let you do a sleight of hand. I'm gonna give you inspiration, good sir, for this. You can use it on the sleight of hand check, or you can use it at some point further, but you now have inspiration.
I think I'm going to save it because I got a nat 20.
All right. So, Agna, you just see this around your paw. You see this rope get tied, and everybody sees, without any warning, Fletch dive out into the air and disappear down into the mist. You, Sean Haas, are kind of floating, and you can see the swirls and all of that sort of thing. And then you see something. At first you think it might be one of these red dragon drake kind of creatures screaming through the mist at you. And then you realize that it is the face of your buddy Fletch. You can see his eyes wide, his hands outstretched. And then you wonder why it is that he's able to gain on you. And that's when you feel the impact of the stone shelf just beneath you as your body slams into solid granite rocks jutting up, tearing into your skin. You can hear your bones breaking. Everything in front of you becomes this black sparkle-filled blur as this lands into you. You are going to take 17 points of fall damage. Wow, double sixes. And 12 points of piercing damage from the sharp shale-like stone you just landed on, good sir. But you did land. And at the very last second, you see, basically, Fletch, as you come piercing your way through your face, your kind of hands out, you see, really quickly, you see Sean Haas in front of you, and your elation crosses over you. You're like, oh, my buddy! And then you see him hit that shelf, and then it crosses into your mind, oh shit, I'm gonna hit that shelf too. Are you gonna try and maybe turn and pull on the rope to try and...
I'm gonna attempt to curl into a ball to land on Sean Haas.
All right, good. To land on him?
Or at least kind of lessen the impact somehow. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and roll me an acrobatics then.
I'm going to add my inspiration to that one.
All right.
Is that a D6 or...
What? No, it's advantage.
Oh, it's advantage. Oh,
yeah.
Thank heavens. Much better. Total of 19.
19. You reach out and your hand, you kind of tuck and roll. And as you begin to roll, a thought goes through your mind. Agna, you feel the rope that was tied to your feet go taut and pull on your foot. I'll come to you in a second, but I'm going to finish with Fletch. Fletch, you come up and you tuck and you roll and you expect to land on your buddy Sean Haas, but you apparently come up just a bit slow. And as you roll yourself across and through to kind of roll through it, you swing like a pendulum. The last thing you see are his feet brushing your snout as you swing out into the mist. Sean Haas, I need a strength check from you. Not Sean Haas, but Agna, I need a strength check from you as you feel, even from the weight, you feel your foot pulled, you feel the edge of the bridge kind of crumble and break away a little bit.
Okay.
So I was going to help her maintain her balance. Am I able to help her now?
Yeah, so go ahead and make that strength check at advantage, please.
Okay, I get a 17.
A 17, that is more than enough. You actually step your way back onto the bridge, and this changes your trajectory a little bit, but you don't really know where you're at, Fletch. Everything around you is this swirling clouds and all of that stuff, and then you see it. You see something pass right by you with a great whoosh sound, and you see the sharp streak of red and this kind of hiss sound, and for a split second you actually see this small younger dragon type creature kind of look back towards you like, what in the hell is that, as you guys pass each other. So Sean Haas went flying off the right hand side of the bridge. You don't know what happened to him, but rising out of the mist on the left-hand side, you see this small rolled up ball of Fletch swinging up and out of the mist and pausing and holding just a second in the air on the left-hand side of the bridge. What is everybody going to do? You're alive, I'm assuming, Sean Haas.
Yes, I am alive.
So we will start with you.
I'm going to stand up, brush myself off, touch myself appropriately, and use my lay on hands.
All right.
And then I am going to wait for my buddy to swing back by. I'm going to curl up my rope and prepare to either catch him or throw him my rope.
All right. Okay, so Fletch, you come up and out of the mist. You look around and you see the scene that you had left before, and you are on this penguin, but you can see the rope is still attached to Agna's paw. And you can see her stepping back onto the bridge, and that tightens it and pulls you a little bit in that direction. Agna and Ashar, what are you guys going to do as you see off to the left-hand side a little ball of Fletch pop out of the mist, hanging from the rope that is now taut?
Pull!
Pull that rope.
All right, you guys begin to pull the rope in, and as you begin to do this, the rope is taut. You immediately, your trajectory was kind of off to the side, and once you start dropping, your trajectory kind of does one of these things and kind of comes towards the bridge. You disappear, you all see him disappear underneath the bridge. You can feel the rope tighten and swing. I'm going to give a percentage chance for the rope to be cut on something sharp. So we're going to say...
Oh, no.
So the rope comes down underneath, and you immediately feel the tension and your momentum increase greatly as you come flying underneath the bridge. And all of a sudden, Agna, you feel everything go slack. As you realize your rope, as you pull backwards, and this causes you to stumble back. And as you stumble backwards, the rope comes up out of the mist, the shorter part of the rope, and you see where it appears like it has been cut on something. You gotta remember, it did swing against a broken bridge where there's possibly metal and other things, and then you drug it across this, and then it went under and you kept dragging it. The rope seems to snap. Your momentum, Fletch, is now no longer like rope bound. You're ping! You're shot out into this mist, and you are literally like back to the bottom. You're looking up, and you're seeing on the underside of this, there are places on it where you might be able to get a handhold, and you come out the other side. Go ahead and roll me a perception check.
Oh,
what
gosh.
even is this? I wish I knew.
I don't know anymore.
A 17.
A 17. First off, I'd like to thank everybody, all of you, for coming and hanging out with us. This is getting zany, but this is also getting fun. You see a spot, like I had described beforehand when you first came out of that opening. There was that kind of H-shaped, rusted, kind of metal-looking bit of what appeared to be a ladder. And as you're shooting through, you eventually, your momentum begins to die down. And as you start to float back into the mist, you look, and it looks like there's another ladder that was built off the side of the bridge. And you can see it as you go past this bit of a bridge. Do you want to reach out and grab it, or?
See, so what's my trajectory? Can I feel it kind of going back towards Sean?
No,
not at all.
no. Sean is somewhere feet and yards off over there. What happened was when they started pulling on the rope, you slung underneath the bridge. The rope snapped, and so you're now traveling just about a direct line underneath the bridge and now starting to fall back into the mist.
Gotcha.
The direction you guys were initially heading.
Gonna scramble and do whatever I can to try and reach out for that.
Okay, go ahead and roll me a dexterity.
If anyone has any bits out there to spare, I could probably use it right now. A total of 16.
16. You're flying by, and strangely you're kind of relaxed because wow, you've never done this. You're flying. That's what dragons do. You've seen the great and grand dragons of Midgard. They fly, and that's what you're doing. And then you start to sink, and you look over, and your hand, you snap out, and almost in one fluid motion, you grab onto the rung of the ladder and stop your momentum from dropping down. You fling up, and you kind of land on the other side, kind of like an Olympic gymnast. Just boom, boom, and you're there on top of it. Are you going to pull yourself up?
I'm gonna sit there for just a few seconds and pray to whatever gods I believe in.
Agna and Ashar, you pull up this torn, frayed piece of rope. And just like all the stones that you've seen and heard chinking down into this vast waste beneath you, this bottomless canyon, you don't hear Fletch, your little kobold friend. He makes no sound, but he's obviously disappeared out into this mist. What are the two of you going to do?
Stand there in shock for a moment. uh,
I shout up, "Hey Fletch, are you coming back?"
Your voice
Can we
travels
hear
out,
him?
but no. Well, go ahead. You two go ahead and roll me a perception. I'm gonna say with disadvantage because of the mist and the thickness of the mist and the way the canyon's constructed.
I was gonna ask if there was any plant life.
Not that you can see. No.
Nope, nothing. I got a full. Wait, I haven't edited it up.
perception, right?
Yeah.
Seven.
Disadvantage. 7. What'd you
16.
get? 16. You hear, but it's faded and you can't make out exactly what it is at all. Sean Haas, you kind of pull yourself up and right yourself. You're kind of waiting for the pendulum effect of Fletch, who doesn't answer your call out. Nobody answers the call out, but all the motion and stuff, and something does make its way fast past this platform that you're on. And as it does that and it swirls some stuff, you hear kind of as it passes by this, and then through the mist. As the mist swirls, you realize what you landed on are shards or pieces of broken but fashioned and carved rock. This isn't a natural platform. This is actually, from what you can guess or gather, dwarven built. And as the swirls happen, you notice just off to your right, and you can't believe it, but you actually look and see what appears to be stone steps rising out into the mist.
I will start climbing up the stairs.
Alrighty. So, Fletch, we're back to you. What are you going to do?
After finishing my prayer to my dragonly, wonderful big deity, I will climb the ladder.
All right, you climb the ladder, and as you get up to the bridge and you pull yourself up, the fog and the mist and the clouds here, your height, you can't really see. You do feel solid ground underneath of you. You don't hear these dragony sounds going on from where you're at. You traveled the distance. You're not quite sure how far, but you don't see any of your friends. You don't hear anything except for the wind kind of howling through the canyon, and some of the clouds move from time to time, but not really exposing much around you as you get up and right yourself. What are you going to do, Ashar, when you hear this sound, this muffled?
I yell, Fletch, is that you?
Go ahead, Fletch, and roll me a perception check at disadvantage.
Alrighty. Total
No,
of
actually,
9.
no, you don't have to. You don't. Sean Haas, you do. Roll me a perception check at disadvantage. You roll me just a straight up perception check. And I'm pointing at my monitor as if Atavistics can actually see me. So you. What'd you get?
21.
21. You hear Ashar's voice rip through, calling your name. What did you get there, Sean?
I got a 6.
No, you don't hear anything. This mist is so thick and soupy, everything is lost to you. But you're able to trace your way along the stairs. What are you going to do, Fletch? You hear them calling your name.
And can I tell the direction?
Yeah. It's back the way you came. A fair distance, as a matter of fact. Maybe 80 feet or so.
I'm gonna head directly in that direction, cautiously but quickly enough to where, I can try and find him and just scream out, "Fletch is here! Fletch is here!"
You're all hearing this, and it comes from behind you guys. You hear, "Fletch is here! Fletch is here!" And it seems like it's coming at the height of the bridge itself that you're on. Which is odd because you're holding there's no, what? But his voice is coming behind you, and you eventually hear his clawed feet scrabbling across the stone. Go ahead and roll me a perception check there, would you, Fletch? As you're trying to make your way back towards your friends.
7.
7. You don't see it. You don't feel it. You don't hear it. But you're kind of cooking along. You're moving cautiously, but you're moving along. And then all of a sudden, you put your foot out, and there's nothing. There's no bridge there whatsoever. And you kind of fall forward. But you're able to, luckily the hole is small enough that when you fall forward, your body lands with a thud on the solid surface of the bridge. You pull yourself up. So Ashar and Agna, you do not see Fletch. From the direction where he is calling from, you do see some swirls in the mist though, and you don't see the bridge.
Can't see the bridge at all.
Nope.
Oh.
Just add a little flavor. Fletch is here, Fletch is here, Fletch is here.
I'm gonna try and make my way towards our friend.
All right. You try to make your way towards your friend, and you get to a point and a breeze comes across the bridge, moving and shifting the clouds enough to reveal to you two separate things. One, there, maybe 30 feet in front of you, is your good friend Fletch, the kobold, making his way, hustling towards you. And you can see these pockmarks where stone from above or neglect and wear has worn holes through the bridge. And then you perceive some motion off to the right hand side of you. Sean Haas, the mist splits away from you and your head comes up, and you're kind of looking over this soupy white cloud-like fog. And as you look off to the left, maybe 45 feet away from you, standing on the bridge, are your friends, and you are at the top end of where the stairs were rising up and out.
Well, hey guys.
Little dragon. And Fletch will run over and wrap his arms around his midsection.
He's about 45 feet off the edge of the bridge to the right.
Oh, no, he doesn't do that then.
I'm coming.
So what are the four of you going to do? We're going to start with Fletch.
I'm going to go and... Do I see... oh my gosh, Ashar and Anga?
Yeah, you see Ashar and Agna. You and all you see of Sean is just the very, like, his head, like his neck up.
I'll make my way over to Ashar and Anga and give my big old bear friend a hug around the leg.
So what are you guys going to do then? We're going to move on to Ashar.
So we can continue moving down the bridge now, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Let's do that then.
Yeah, let's move in that direction because there are things out here that want to eat us.
So when I come to the top of these stairs, do they end?
Yeah, they end. You
Or
can
is it-
actually feel with your foot as you place it out. You can actually see where there should be a next set of steps, and you're touching nothing but broken rock and all that. So you're still like 2 or 3 steps down. So you're just kind of, doing one of these things, looking over at your friends.
Okay, I'm going to, I say, just a minute, and I duck down and I try to find a rock, something cantaloupe size.
Okay.
And then I will, after I find the biggest rock I can, I'll try to tie my rope around it to give it some weight, and spin it and try to throw it towards the bridge.
Roll me in athletics. We've been here before. Seems like just recently.
+7. Ooh,
No more rope for Fletch.
26.
26. You see like some motion in Sean's head, and you can discern that he's doing something under the mist, and his arms come up and he whips what appears to be a rope tied around a chunk of rock. And what is absolutely amazing to you is the way this rock's trajectory floats through the air, landing. Who's going to catch it?
I guess I will.
Agna, you reach your paws out. The one is blistered, sore, and raw from where the rope cooked and burned your paw. But this rock, somehow perfectly thrown, lands gently into your paws. You guys manage over the next 15 minutes or so to rig up a way to get Sean Haas back over to you. And eventually you guys find yourselves once again traipsing your way across this bridge. Those little dragon type creatures, you can hear them moving through the mist. You can hear them snapping their wings every once in a while, a hiss, and every once in a while you see them rise almost like a whale out of the mist. You see the arc of a spiked and scaled red back. You have no doubt that these are actually young dragons. These aren't drakes. These aren't wyverns. You guys weren't born yesterday. These are definitely young dragons. And as you make your way across, you get to a point where there's a huge swirling. It almost looks like water, like eddies in a backwater way, kind of swirling around in front of you. And you can see where the edge of the bridge that you're currently on stops. And somewhere out there must be the other part of the bridge, but you cannot see it from where you are currently at. However, you do see above you and on the other side more of these metal, what appear to be ladders that are coming down. The one on the other side is broken, but the one above you, you could probably maybe figure a way to get out of it, or you could take a chance and see if you can find out if there's a bridge still somewhere in front of you.
How high above us?
Probably about 10, 15 feet above you. And you are standing on that kind of arc spot that Agnes saw from up above. And so you definitely can see that there is no bridge. And matter of fact, go ahead and roll me a perception check.
16.
All right. So let me know. That's good enough. You can see on the other side, a bit ways out there, maybe 40 or 50 feet, you can actually see the other part of the bridge. You get about a 40 to 50 foot, and it does kind of arc its way up.
Can we tell the distance that spans it?
It's about 45, 50 feet of emptiness. If you guys want to look around, you can go ahead and look around and try to take in the area a little bit more. If you want to do that, go ahead and roll me an investigation.
I will look around, but I rolled a natural 1, so.
So go
Did
ahead.
Fletch.
What'd you get, Fletch?
I'm just
Nat 1. I've now pulled the ring back out and I'm looking at it.
All right, Agna.
Yeah, sure, I'll give it a try. 22.
And Ashara, you gonna take a look around?
9.
9. All right. So Agna's the brilliant one. However, go ahead and roll me a history there, if you would, Fletch.
That is a 10.
Okay. You're looking over the ring, and there's something familiar about it, but it's no. There's something familiar. It might just be the fact that it's gold, and you know what gold looks like, but you can't tell much more. However, Agna, as you're looking around, you guys all see Agna at one point drop down to all fours and kind of begin to look around as a bear would in the forest. And Agna, this allows you to find off the right-hand side one of those kind of platform points where there seems to be stairs that descend down and into the mist itself.
Hey guys, I found a pair of stairs. Don't know where it goes, but it looks neat.
Okay, so we have this ladder 10 feet above us. If we would climb up that, would we be on the opposite side of the span above us? Or
No.
would we still be?
You would still have to use the rope bridge. You guys have done all of this work to get equal to where the rope bridge is at.
Bridge is. Okay, so really our only option to move forward is to go down the stairs.
Yeah.
Is
Well,
there any
yeah, as far as you
way-
can see, yeah.
Is there any way that we can get over to that platform?
To the platform that's in front of you? Or
Well,
the
but
platform
stairs
she's
thing,
talking.
yeah.
No, yeah, you're right there. You're right there at those stairs.
Shall we go down?
Until these lead us to a dead end, to me it appears to be the only way forward unless I try to do the swirly throw rock thing with Fletch.
Somehow I don't think that's going to happen.
With all this discussion going on, Fletch is going to take the ring and like shove it into Char's face.
I'm in my natural 20s. Thank you for the subscription. I am definitely going to turn that down in the future because I just about had a cardiac arrest. My God, thank you. I hope that $5 was worth my doctor bill because crap almighty, I think I pooped myself. Wow, that was loud. Okay, what are you going to do? Can you do it in sign language? Because I don't think I can hear anymore.
Wish I could. No, I'm going to take the ring that I was looking at and kind of just shove it into Char's face. You recognize?
I'll take a look at it.
Go ahead and roll me a history check.
12.
Something about a book. Wow, it was a long... No, it wasn't a book. It was something that a relative read you when you were a kid. And as he turns it around and the sun that comes through the snow above hits the gold, it tinks off of it, and you recognize that symbol. You can see the small little forms climbing up this giant spire that's represented by this signet ring. And you recognize it to be the indestructible order of high mountaineers. Whether or not they are
that's
still
interesting.
indestructible is up for debate.
I would say probably not so indestructible.
So you guys gonna make your way down the stairs?
Yep.
You descend down the stairs, the stone stairs. They're kind of slick from the mist, and your footfalls kind of echo and then muffle off and die off as you descend now down into the mist. Your vision is maybe capable, you can see maybe 2 feet in front of you. Who is in the lead? Would that be Agna?
Probably, yeah. I found
All
the
right, so
stairs.
Agna, you're moving through, you at least one paw out in front of you, and then looming right there in front of you, your paw lands on cold, rusted iron. And as you kind of stop yourself, your weight is enough to press into the iron that you actually hear this heavy metallic creaking sound as what appears to be a door slightly opens in front of you. You can all hear this grinding of rusted metal on rusted metal.
Oh boy.
Well, a door is progress.
Yep. I'll gotta open that door.
All right, you swing the door open. The room inside is amazingly not filled with mist. As you step inside this room, the room is filled with all kinds of buttons and levers and turnable wheels and all kinds of push and pull
No.
doohickeys.
No.
And all of this stuff. As you come in, you all enter into this room. Do you close the door behind you to stop the mist from coming in? The door
Yeah, we need our
grates
eyes.
behind you, and you realize you were looking out through what appear to be windows or smooth fashioned crystal, and then it hits you. Go ahead, everybody, and roll me wonderful nature checks, please.
Ooh.
I'm going to start with Fletch.
Sure.
Got a 19.
Ashar.
10.
Nice. Agna.
15.
And finally, Sean.
14.
So, yeah, you all could pretty much pick up on it. The fact that this isn't glass. It's not crystal. This appears to be worked and fashioned diamond. Sheets of it that are forming these windows, which would explain why, after all this time and the misuse and neglect, they have not broken. But the thing that catches your attention even more so is this great black iron, unrusted strut-like thing that stretches off over to your left-hand side into the mist.
So this room's full of levers, correct?
Yes, it's full of levers, and it looks like there's runes and writing about the place.
Is there one that's noticeably larger than the rest?
There are actually there's two that are noticeably larger with a great what appears to be tarnished brass or bronze wheel in between them, almost like you'd be driving a ship.
Fletch beelines for that.
I want to try and grab him. I wanna
Okay,
try and
roll.
grab
Go
him.
ahead and roll me a dexterity.
Was that for a shard or
That was for Ashar, and I need one from you as well as she reaches out to grab you.
16.
natural 1?
Oh, she not only grabs you, she grabs the collar of whatever you're wearing, lifts you with ease back to her, and tucks you under her arm in such a way that she actually pins both of your arms against her, and she's kind of got you in a mid-body lock and is holding on to you.
No, Fletch.
Can I reach her with my teeth?
Roll me another acrobatics. We're going to see if you can.
Bad Fletch.
Natural 20.
No, yeah, you can. You can actually reach back. You're flexible enough with there's enough like sinew and that sort of stuff in your body. You're actually able to just about turn around and bite yourself. So yeah.
So I'm going to bite her, but not terribly hard. Just enough
Okay.
to know I'm not happy with this situation.
All right, so he reaches back quickly and his teeth open up and he goes to bite on you. I want an initiative from the pair of you or anybody else who's going to take part in this fist fight.
I'm just trying to read these ruins that I can't read.
What languages
Staying
do you
out of
speak?
this.
Common and Draconic.
Okay. So what'd you guys get?
I got a 6 initiative.
15.
Okay,
Rolled
he
another
reaches
nat
back
one.
to bite you, and you're able to quickly not allow that sort of a thing. But he is trying to bite you. So are you going to do anything to react?
Can I take my free hand and attempt to hold his mouth closed?
Go ahead and roll me an attack. This is not what I wrote at the beginning of the night.
That I believe that is an 18.
Does an 18 hit you?
It just barely does.
Yeah, you reach out, you grab his snout and close his snout up. So she now has you in this body lock and she has your snout. It's kind of like wrestling a crocodile or a baby alligator. You're holding it so it's wiggling, but its snout is held in your hands.
No, Fletch.
I'd like to attempt to break free.
Right. First off, what are you doing, Agna?
Well, you know what? I'm going to try to end them, stop both of them fight. I'm going to roar a mighty bear roar for them to stop.
So this roar comes erupting out of Agna as you try to break free. Let me see here. I gotta check something really quick. Wasn't like I said, this isn't what I wrote. Damn it. Bear with me just a second. There we are.
Okay.
So go ahead and whichever one you want to use, either that isn't the right creature though. Yeah, go ahead. As far as you're concerned, you let out this mighty roar. Everybody needs to make me a wisdom save as this roar exits out of her and begins to reverberate off this sealed room.
Would it be like an intimidation versus wisdom?
No.
Okay.
It's just a reverberation that's gonna affect you. And then roll me either an athletics or a dexterity check to see if
Nice.
you can. And you roll one as well. Firehawk, please.
So my wisdom was a 13.
Okay. Let me know if you get less than a 10 on the wisdoms. Okay.
And what else did you need me to roll?
I need you to roll either an athletics or a dexterity. Don't piss off Mama.
18.
All right, what'd you roll?
For wisdom, I got an 8, but for dexterity, I got a 22.
All right. So he manages to not so much via strength or anything, but he manages to wiggle himself through this great thrashing and all that. And you kind of almost like a lizard, almost like we would expect to see an alligator do. You kind of come out of her because your arms are pinned. So you're doing one of these things. You just kind of slither out of her arms, pulling your head free. But as this happens, you take... Okay, what did everybody else... Did anybody else miss the 10?
I got an 11.
Okay, so everybody else is good. So you take... Let me see, a d4 worth of damage. There's a 4. I knew I had a 4 here somewhere. You take 2 points of damage from this great roar. The roar dies out. You manage to escape, get away from Ashar, who's trying to restrict you from doing what every kobold should be allowed to do.
Right.
She's trying to stop you from your fun. Does anybody here speak Dwarven?
No.
This shit's about to get real.
Give me a second. I have a class feature.
It's under description.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Character
I
details.
have a whole bunch of languages, but no, I do not have.
Alrighty, so are you gonna make your way back over to those levers in that big old wheel there, Fletch?
Knowing the kind of reaction that I received from Ashar, I'm gonna pout. Just sit on all and just pout.
All right. So Fletch just kind of flops down and begins kind of crossing his arms and pouting because you won't let him have fun. You're all in this room, and it looks like all the panels with all the levers and dials and doohickeys are all up against and just below those diamond windows that look out. And you can see on the one side where it appears to be this great great span of black, non-rusted iron. And then you realize there's another one partway through as a breeze comes through and spins the clouds out of your way. There appears to be another great iron black beam that's coming up and away. And as it swirls around, whoever is by the glass, which would not be Fletch, which would not be Ashar, so I'll say Agna and our good friend Sean, go ahead and roll me perception checks if you would.
Okay.
I got a 13.
13, you got an 18, Agna?
Yep.
Okay, both of you, as you kind of look out the glass, you see these beams, and then you notice that there seems to be a disc of metal out in front of where the glass is at, where these black iron beams connect down to. And you notice the beams are kind of shooting out straight, and you don't lose them because they've gone up, you lose them because they've gone out. So they're slightly angled and rising outwards away from you. Agna, you can tell that, as weird as it might be, that these beams look to be sleeved one inside the other. And you can see points on the metal where it looks like they could be slidable.
Like tubes or something?
Possibly, yeah. So they could actually reach out, maybe.
I'm gonna let the team know about these weird beams.
Okay.
Okay.
Fletch knows. Fletch don't tell you though.
This is some sort of dwarven contraption to span but do we want to try to? I think it would be safer to continue to climb down the stairs. Did the stairs continue down?
No, they actually go back out the other door, and you can see the other door is long gone and missing, and you can see where the stairs start to go up the other way, but they've crumbled and have fallen away.
And there's no other way out except from the way that we came.
The way you came, and then, like I said, the door that's blown off or gone, and the crumbled stairway out that way.
So we want to try this?
Yeah, we might need to figure out how to use these devices in this room.
All right.
Fletch knows.
Then I say we let Fletch do it.
Show us.
All right.
Show us almighty Fletch.
They're egging you on, Fletch.
With extreme excitement because he gets to go touch the shiny thing. Fletch makes a beeline again for the large wheel, the two levers, correct?
Yep.
And without any rhythm, rhyme, or reason, gonna grab both the levers and just start jerking them.
So Fletch runs up, jumps up, grabs both the levers, and just begins to start doing this with them. And just shortly thereafter, once the kobold begins to do this, you begin to hear the most god-awful metal on metal as you see those beams kind of doing this in kind of a scissoring motion. First one will slide up and down, and then the other one, and they're kind of pistoning back and forth. This god-awful screeching of metal on metal reverberates out into the canyon, and it begins, the motion itself actually swirls the clouds enough that you can see. Go ahead and roll perception there, anybody that's watching.
Now, two fixed on doing this.
Okay.
I got a 9.
A 9. Ashar.
14.
14, and Agna.
Okay, sorry, getting used to these dice.
Sorry.
I think it's a 6. I'm gonna say it's a 10.
Okay, so Ashar, you notice as this happens, there's a swirl out there, and you can swear for a split second that you actually see what appears to be a platform connected to the ends of these two metal arms that he is gyrating like mad. Roll me an intelligence check, please.
Oh, did we lose him?
Hmm?
14.
14. As you look out and you see this, it runs through your mind that up top, the bridge, the end of the bridge was not broken. It was smoothed around, and you could actually see where this black iron was folded around the edge to protect it.
So I'm going to give up on yanking those, and I'm going to start turning the wheel counterclockwise as quickly as I can.
So you can't. It won't turn. It's kind of locked. And Ashar, the other thing that you remember is that the fame with which the dwarves of the Iron Crags are for making things such as airships. So if they were to use this canyon as a passageway, they would probably have bridges and things that could move just like they would barges going into a busy city and that sort of thing. But yeah, you're slamming it. No, it won't go.
I'll
I give
quickly
up on
say
that.
stop.
Okay.
That controls the bridge. We need to get the bridge back connected, and then we can cross across it.
That's what Fletch is doing!
Oh, stop!
So he is continuing to do this with the bridge, and as the mist clears once again, and you know what you're looking for, Ashar, you actually see a bit of stone crack away from underneath, and you can see as the mist splits, you can see like a receptacle, like to the top part you could see where it was kind of rounded like that. This part you see that black iron go in this way, so obviously it kind of comes up and fits into place. The stone that you see break away is in the center of that span, as if him doing this is stressing it and starting to rip the stone apart.
All right, you need to stop. The bridge is going to break if you continue to do that.
I'll stop and then do one final jerk and then let go.
Let's see if this is where the game ends. You hear this great sound, but you can't see if any more damage was done because the swirls of the mist and the fog and the clouds come back in and over. But you're right, you can definitely discern, and as she brought this up, you all can see how all of this stuff somehow has to use or operate the bridge, but there's so many other levers and stuff that it probably operates quite a few different things that you're unaware of. Roll me a perception check, Mr. Fletch. I have to.
14.
You see as you stop, your fun ruined once again, and you look down as you start to pout, and you see, it's not brass, it's not bronze, it's a gold. It looks like a button. You can see black iron underneath of it, and it's a button that it looks like you could press it. And on it, you see what appears to be an airship.
I'm going to, as stealthily as possible, reach over and press the button.
All right, so I'm gonna say you're able to do that. You reach over, your hand coming down to rest on the button, and everybody hears it. You see Fletch's hand depress a button. You have no clue what it is, but you hear the click and then the sliding of metal on metal. Fletch, you hear it beneath your hand as it depresses. You hear this click, and somewhere out In the mist, you hear this great grating sound of iron on iron and an expulsion of air, like a steam sound. And you notice that off to the left-hand side, or the right-hand side, the direction you guys came in, you can see a swirl out there as you begin to see something rise up into the air. At first, you see this great metallic, skinned, balloon-shaped apparatus as you see an airship rise up, and it comes and it stops right there, and you can see it buoyancy, and you can see two glows, one from the far side glowing and pulsing, and then one on this side, and you hear this thrumming kind of sound, and you realize that there's still moorings. It's still moored, and you can see these great rope type things made of a black kind of iron that's almost like cables coming up. And when this happens, you see a like a platform kind of rise out from just beneath where the stairs are at, rises out, raises, and you see as it comes up and raises, steps up to the airship. The airship itself stretches maybe 100 feet in length. This great, massive metal balloon over the top of it. And you, Fletch, you actually see this great wheel of blackish wood with great silver handles coming off. It's obviously used to steer this great and mighty vessel. What are the four of you going to do?
Shiny.
I'm gonna pat Fletch on the head and say, "Good job, buddy."
Fletch knew what he was doing. Fletch told you. Listen to Fletch.
Okay. We will use the airship, but Fletch is not driving the airship.
Tiny dragon. And I'm going to use my racial ability. What is it called? The beg ability.
All right.
Which it's really not, it's not going to do anything, but I'll look cute as, she looks so adorable. Says, as an action on your turn, you can cower pathetically to distract nearby foes.
All right. So he goes about cowering pathetically, making himself look like a whipped dog more than anything else. But it falls upon deaf ears because you're not enemies, you're not foes. You've seen him do this before. This isn't something new. What are the four of you going to do?
We do not want to crash the airship. Let us move. We move to the airship.
I'll pick up Fletch and pat him and say, "It's okay, buddy," and just take him over to the airship.
All right.
Shiny.
So you all make your way on to this great dwarven airship. It looks old, it looks antique. You've seen much more modern versions of dwarven airships before, and this one indeed, this one's older by a long shot, but it's amazing. It's a grand structure. You get up onto it, you begin to do the things, you undo its moorings. Who is going to take the helm of this thing?
Again, Fletch beelines for it.
Mhm.
At this point, I'm just gonna let him.
All right. Fletch, you charge up, and you can see foot pedals and a lever in this wheel and all these contraptions. Are you going to start pushing them and stuff?
No, I'm just going to take the wheel and just rock it back and forth.
The ship slowly begins to rise up out of the mist, rise up into the air, and from down below you in the depths of the canyon, you hear one great, mighty roar. and a gout of flame erupt through the mist as a full-sized red dragon arcs after the ship. I would love to thank these 4 wonderful people for pushing me to my damn limits tonight. This was nothing that I had written. This was absolutely wonderful. I'd like to thank all you folks for coming and hanging out with this. Let me go ahead and send it around the horn to these wonderful people. Let them say any closing words. I have a couple of announcements. Then we'll do our raid. So I'm going to start with Takeda.
It was nice playing, and Fletch's best character.
All right, Atavistics.
Fletch is the best character. He's by far been my favorite one to play. I really do hope that he survives this next encounter, so maybe we can see him in the future.
All right, Firehawk.
Fletch's best character. I want to see him again.
And Stump.
Stump makes it unanimous. Fletch is best character.
Alrighty. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I just got a couple quick announcements. Again, tune in tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, here on The Forge for a very special one-shot with a very special guest. We are doing of owlbears and honey. If you thought this was silly, I can only imagine where that one might go. But tomorrow night, we have a special guest joining us. That is Bad Eye himself, the big boss from over at D&D Beyond, Adam Bradford. So tune in tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Bring your bits, because this is going to be your chance to mess with the boss of D&D Beyond. A whole bunch of stuff coming up this weekend, but I can talk about that again tomorrow night. We are going to do a raid here really quick, so please stick around for that. And then if you'd be so kind, some of us are going to jump over into the voice chat. Come hang out with us for a little bit over there. Let us get a chance to know you and say hi to you and all that good stuff. So let me go ahead and do this. I would like to thank everybody. If you're new to the channel and you want to play some games, by God, drop a follow on us here on our Twitch. Get over on our Discord. Come hang out, because we got a lot of stuff. I'm looking for 3 more players for another one shot next Wednesday afternoon. So go ahead, come on over and get involved with us. We're constantly looking for players. That's something we certainly want more of. We're going to go ahead and raid these guys here in just a second. Come on over. Let us see you guys, and we will talk to you guys later. There's the raid. Come on, everybody. All you have to do to jump in on this raid is just stick around. That's all you need to do. So go ahead
I
and
had
come
shared
and hang out with us over on Thug Lore's channel. Let's drop a raid on them and share the love. Hope to see you guys over on our Discord. Come get involved. All it takes. So everybody for the follows and the bits tonight. You guys have been wonderful.
And our radiant sort of damage.
Let this go ahead and gear up. We got 16
like,
raiders.
them sort of utterly when they were close to death.
Fletch knows best.
There we go. My God, that was crazy fun.
That was ridiculous.
Thank you for letting me do that,
Holy
everybody.
bananas, and I loved every second of it.